3, 2, 1.
Hello, my fellow cigar lovers and addicts. Welcome to another fabulous Freaky Friday show here at the old Death Star in Blue Springs, Missouri. Glad you guys could make it tonight. I'm just happy to continue to be able to come here and have you guys join me every week and have a good time. Got some good topics and hey Guns, what's up, brother? Glad you could make it. Got a really good show in store tonight. Got a lot of things to talk about, a lot of things to share with everybody. Got a good stick and kind of tell you what's going on with everything. Daniel, what's up? Welcome to the show. Bobby, welcome, buddy. Glad you could be here. So this week, it has been, I don't know. I guess I'm just going to call this Hell Week of the shit happens variety. So, kind of share with you guys as I'm sitting here. And right now, I'm sipping on a Americano. Just had this going for a minute. And I'm smoking something really special tonight, guys. And reason being is what I'm going to tell you. But what am I going to puff on tonight? Well, an Opus 25th anniversary El Tributo. Look at this baby. It is beautiful. Love these. Love this cigar. It is absolutely fabulous. I just can't wait to get into it. Hey, aficionado, what's up? Glad you could make it to the show, brother. You know, this all has the nice, cedar sleeve and just, oh man, this thing is freaking amazing. I was lucky enough at the time to, have the money to buy a box of these, and I got one of the first ones out. So they've been in my humidor for quite a while, and everything's all good. Sweet, man. Yeah, in fact, I got, as you can tell, I got some swag and shit. So look at all this shit that I got from Chief this week. He sent me a nice little package with my order. So I got, let's see here. Let me take that down for a second so you can see this. Yeah, so I ordered a sampler pack. I got 5 of the Habanos, 5 of the Maduros, and then he sent me like a CAO 250th. He sent me one of the damn Perdomo Father and Sons, which thank you, Chief, for sending me that. I got a hat, I got a shirt, I got some more stickers. I mean, brother hooked me up, and I mean, it's only been a week since he was on the show, and I already got all this shit, and some of you guys are already getting, some of your stuff as well. So that's pretty amazing that's what's going on. Mr. Cash, welcome, brother. Glad you could join us tonight. I know you're probably out there, earning your 37 cents for the day, working hard. Glad you could make it. Yeah, that 25th, it's just amazing, and, I love it. I'm going to light this thing up and enjoy it. Good. I'm glad you got your, yeah. And he don't fuck around. I mean, you put an order in and bam, he gets the shit out. I mean, if he gets an order, it's in the fucking mail the same day. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he sent me some stickers and some swag. Hey, Young, welcome, brother. Glad you could make it tonight. I don't know. I sent you a text, and your cigar bomb is on the way, which is going to have your Chief of the Leaf stuff. Sent you a little bit of swag with that, some stickers and stuff, and then I got some other goodies coming. Some of my faves, and hope you enjoy it. You should be picking that up next week. It just went out in the old mailbox first thing this morning, so be looking for that, brother, and it's coming. And Bobby, I got your Ferry Otego lined out to send to you. And I got a couple other things that should be coming in the mail tomorrow. And when I get those, I'm going to throw that in your pack and get that sent out to you, Bobby. So, yeah, the Habano's good. I like the Maduro, too. I mean, it's good. That Habano, man. I had that Habano with a... let's see. Oh, it was a butterscotch. It was a butterscotch, like what do they call them fucking beers or whatever? It was like a butterscotch beer. It was a butterscotch beer, but it was non-alcoholic, and fuck, it went with that thing really, really good. Could not get through your email. Oh, really? Huh. Okay. Well, I don't know. I'll have to check that out and see. I don't think it would send that shit to the spam. I'll have to double check on that. If not, I got your guys' shit, and I'll send you out my personal email, and so you can get in touch with me. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. It's my pleasure. I always love to share. And like I said, I was sorry that didn't get you in on the old spinaroo. So I'll send you some more goodies, brother. I appreciate you. But anyway, let me get this sumbitch lit up, and we can kind of get on with the show a little bit. Let's see what I do with my damn cutter. I just had it here. Man, I'm trying to throw all this stuff together. It's been just a crazy... Oh, it's in my fucking lap. It's like when you run around, you're like, where's my fucking sunglasses? Damn it, where's my sunglasses? They're on your head, dipshit, So anyway, I'm gonna get this thing cut. I'm just gonna do a nice straight cut on this thing. Really open it up and get a really good draw on that baby. But anyway, so I hope everybody's had a good week. I hope everybody's week has been better than my week. My week has been fucking crazy, and I've just had some dastardly shit happen to me this week that I just can't believe. I'll share it with you here in a minute, but just some stuff that happened that I was blessed. I had an angel on my shoulder this week, and I could feel it, and I could definitely tell that she was there. Oh my God, that's so good. So freaking good. So you've had an awful week too, Guns. So it was hey Enrique, what's up, brother? I'm smoking your cigar, brother. Enrique won the 25th anniversary on the show last week. In fact, I just got yours packaged up with some stuff this afternoon, and going to be going out in the mail soon, brother. So you got one of these coming. But anyway, so I was going to work. It was early, about 6 o'clock in the damn morning, and yep. Yeah, I can't wait for you to try this, dude. I've had probably, I don't know, I bought a box, and I think, and I've picked up a few more because I've smoked so many of them. I bet I've had like 7 of these by now, and they're just phenomenal. One of the best opuses I've ever smoked. But anyway, so I'm going to work, and my usual path, and this gal runs this red light. I could see her head was down. She wasn't fucking paying attention, probably on her phone, probably some kind of fucking les porn or something. I don't fucking know. I'm just saying. And anyway, man, she runs through this light, and I'm coming down a hill. She's coming down a steep hill like this. I'm coming like this. I fucking just stood on my brakes. I mean, I literally stood on them. And fucking, so I hit it so hard that one of the fucking bolts for the caliper pins that holds the caliper down on the rotor broke. And my fucking caliper, goes around like this and, pinches and shit. Well, one of the back pin broke, so when I hit the brakes, it threw the caliper up into the fucking wheel. Check this shit out, man. So it broke it, and it threw my caliper into the fucking wheel, and you can see where it was digging into the fucking wheel. It hit it so fucking hard that it actually ground holes in that fucking rim. And I get out, and the brakes are like fucking locking up and shit. Luckily, I kind of got it off the side of the road. And then I get out, and my tire's fucking flat, and I got fucking flat spots on the fucking tire. And I'm like, man, what the fuck, and this is Dirt Vader. This is my new fucking truck. I haven't even had it 2 fucking months yet, man. So then I'm like, okay, what am I going to fucking do? Jesus. Well, fortunately I had, tow coverage on my insurance. So I got on there and, called them up, had the fucking tow truck come, had this hot little fucking chick driving this thing. That I ended up giving her a cigar when we got done, but she got it all loaded up on my shit and everything, and got me home. And so anyway, yeah, I know, right? It's just like I said, I had a guardian angel on my shoulder, man. God was looking out for me, because I would have T-boned the shit out of her and have fucked up my brand new truck and everything, and it just would have fucking sucked. So anyway, I get it home, and I got buddies. I've been working on cars forever, and I got buddies in the salvage industry and shit. So I called my brother Alan, who works for All Star Automotive and Auto Salvage here in Kansas City. I mean, I went to high school with his wife. We've known each other for almost 40 years, taking a lot of float trips together and shit. So anyway, I call Alan. I'm like, dude, I need a fucking wheel for my truck, yeah, Dirt Vader, brother. It's fucking my brand new shit. And it had these, had these old freaking style wheels on it. You've seen it before. So it had these factory wheels is what was on it. And so I'm like, okay, you got one of these? And he's like, yeah, there's a guy showing that he's got one, Davis Auto Salvage, which I know them. They're out by a Lake City ammunition plant. I knew right where it was. And he's a Ford only guy, old dude. His name is Alan too. And, oh my dear Lord. It's definitely an Opus week. So anyway, I go get this wheel, and he's like, well, mine's not painted. And I'm like, well, I don't care, because I can paint it, and it didn't have the little indentions and the cavities painted and shit. I'm like, I don't care, as long as it fucking fits, as long as it works. So I drive clear the fuck out there to go get it, come back, take it out. And then, of course, I got flat spots on them tires. Those tires were shit anyway, and they were like off-road tires. And I've been wanting to put some Michelin Defenders on it, because I put Michelins on all my shit. You know what I mean? I don't skimp on anything that goes between me and the ground. You know what I'm saying? And but I had to go from one side of town to the other, so that was about a 20-minute drive out there, and then it was about a 40-minute drive out to the shop that was going to put the wheels on for me. And my buddy Ben out at Lee Summit Car Care, great guy, and he calls me up later on that day, and he's like, dude, this fucking wheel is a 17, it's not a 16. And I'm like, you're shitting me. And he's like, nope. He's like, this has got to be off of a F-150 or like a later model Ranger. And I was like, oh my God. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I can't, having a mismatched set of fucking wheels on my new truck be making my Agent Orange act up. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I got Michelins on every fucking thing. I don't fuck around. I buy the best shit that I can get, and it's worth it, But, so anyway, I called back down to Alan. I'm like, you sure nobody's got one? He's like, well, he's like, I got a steel one that you can put on there till we can figure something out. And he's like, one of my sister companies down the road, Robo's Tires, they repair wheels and shit. He's like, why don't you take it down and talk to Joe down at Robo's and see if he can fix the fucking thing for you. So took it down to him. And I had to call in. I had to send those pictures to my boss and shit and just be like, hey, I got shit I got to deal with, because my shit's fucked up. So anyway, I took it down there to him and was like, well, he's like, you got like 4 fucking leaking, you got 4 holes in it, because it went all the fucking way around it and just dug into that son of a bitch, And of course, I knew with the flat spots on the old tires, I was going to buy the new tires. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I was like, do you think it'll fix it? Do you think you can fix it? And he's like, I'll be honest with you, Chunky. He said, I can weld it up, but I said, I can't guarantee it. He's like, there's just too many holes in it, and it got it pretty good. And he's like, and I was like, well, how much, would you charge me to do it? And he was like, $175. And I was like, ooh, fuck. And I was like, well, fuck, for $175, that'll damn near pay for one brand new wheel. You know what I mean? And the wheels that I had on there were kind of oxidized and shit, and I didn't really like them anyway, for the fact that they just weren't pretty, Got to have some pretty wheels on my shit. I'm too old to not have that, But anyway, so he gave me a steel wheel, and I was able to put it on there, and I put the 3 wheels on it that I had already got mounted on the other ones. And I couldn't find a tire, couldn't find one. I'm like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to go look. And I went to NSK Customs in Independence, Missouri, right across the street from my old alma mater. And I was like, dude, I need some wheels, and I need them today. And I said, I need 16s by 7 or 16 by 8. And I said, I want a 0 to a mild positive offset, no more than 10. because I said I want to keep the stock profile. I want to, make sure that it rides like stock. And so he looked, and their distributor, which basically gives warehouses all the fucking wheels for all the stores that buy them in Kansas City. They had one set that would fit my truck, just one, and that was it. And so I was like, okay. And I'd kind of looked at wheels, and it was kind of like what I was looking for anyway. I mean, I didn't want, I'm old school. I didn't want anything crazy, and I wasn't, tripping on anything. So anyway, I went down and got those tires, and got the wheels, and I got a full set of these. So I ended up just getting just some ion alloys, just some nice ones, had them all fucking mounted up and shit. So now Dirt Vader's got all brand new shoes on it all the way around, pimping, and dude, it rides so nice. I mean, it just rides like freaking pudding in a cloud, you know what I'm saying? And so I was glad to at least be able to get that and get it back on the road. But man, just because somebody wasn't fucking paying attention to what they were doing. Thank you, Young. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Yeah, and I mean it's they're just fucking old school retro looking wheels, and that's all I need. I just needed a good set. Well, I ended up buying 5 of them because you buy brand new wheels, especially anything aftermarket, you never know if you're going to be able to find them again. So I ended up buying 5 of them. So I got one in a box, waiting just in case I need one in the future for some motherfucker that ain't paying attention and fucks up my shit. But thank you, sir. But anyway, yeah, got it all done, got it mounted, $2 fucking grand later, and then I also had to get, some new bolts for my calipers and make sure my calipers weren't fucked up. Thank God I didn't have to, replace calipers and bleed brakes and do any of that kind of, cause I just did a brake job on that thing right after I bought it, So anyway, that was just fucking, my hump day. And and I lost a whole day's pay on top of that because and I didn't want to burn any PTO, but luckily I'm able to make up the hours and stuff, and I get to do some easy shit tomorrow, some office stuff for like 4 hours to make up, and then I did some overtime for the rest of the week, so I'll get my 40 in for the week at least. But yeah, that was not something that I was happy about at all, and nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to have to spend that kind of money because of some dipshit that ain't fucking paying attention to, where the fuck they're going, But, so anyway, that happened to me. And then, like I said, I got that really great fucking stash from Chief this week. I'm really looking forward to trying that fucking Perdomo father and son. That was really nice of Ken to send that to me. And as far as stogies go, it's been a good week, man. It really has. I got I got all those from him, and then what else did I get this week? I got got a nice little stash here. And I'm waiting on my damn Johnny Tobacconaut Maduros, man, from Luxury. They're supposed to be here, and now they're saying Saturday, and I'm like, man, what the fuck? So anyway, I got some of the Lampert Baba Yagas, which they they use that Baba Yaga in John Wick, where they say that it's the boogeyman, Well, actually, Baba Yaga translates back to a Slavic freaking background where basically it's the grandmother witch is what it is. And it was an old, like folklore witch. So it kind of was like a boogeyman, but it's a witch. But anyway, I got the Baba Yagas and yeah, I haven't tried that as of yet. Right on. That's cool. How you liking it, Young? Is it good? I mean, is it living up to the hype? Got some Fogies coming. Huh, that's weird. Yeah, so I don't know, man. Sometimes this shipping shit and everything is kind of crazy. I'm gonna love it. Well, good. Well, if I'm supposed to get them tomorrow, and if they're as good as everybody says it is, because I love a lot of the Room 101 stuff, I'll probably get me a box because those will go crazy like the 10th anniversaries, and they'll just be fucking gone, But yeah, so this is that freaking Perdomo father and son the chief sent me. And then there's some sticks in here that I don't know. Well, he sent me a New World, which AJ New Worlds. You guys know these. These are a fantastic cigar. And then there's some other ones. You guys might be able to help me out with this. The Pappy Van Winkle, right on. Now I've had just one of their regular box ones. I haven't had any other of the Pappy Van Winkles, so I don't know what that one is that you're smoking, but I'm sure if you're smoking it, Enrique, it's probably pretty fucking good, And then let's see, he sent me a Griffin's cigar, like a nice little fucking Robusto. I got that he sent me. And what else? And I don't know what the hell this is. I have never seen this. Deli's. It's got some chick on it. Maybe this is some local blend or something, or some blender that Chief knows. I'm kind of interested to do a little bit of research on that. It says it's Costa Rican tobacco. So might be like poor man's Atabay or something. I don't know. Hopefully that'll be pretty good. And yeah, he sent me the CAO America, and I've had one of these already. These are really good. And then I think I got one coming. I think Young's got me one of those coming for the July 3rd show. That I'm gonna smoke that up on day before 4th of July. And then still living high off of my Opus run that I got a couple weeks ago from Cassie's thing. And shit, dude. But it just kind of leads me to something else that I want to talk about tonight. And this is, I'm sure you can relate, but you've been smoking the hell out of the Basin Daggers. Yeah, those are pretty good. In fact, hell, when they first came out, I thought the Daggers had a little bit better taste than the 26s. But since I've had some 26s in the humidor for a few months now, those some bitches are really waking up and tasting damn good. But something else that I asked myself this question, and it is simply this: why do I buy so many fucking cigars? You know what I mean? It's like, shit, dude, that's turned into like the addiction for me, man. So it's like, let's see where I'm at. And this, I haven't even got any of this shit entered into the fucking humidor yet. But let's see, where are we at? So, dude, I'm at like fucking almost 600 fucking cigars, and I got all these I got to enter, plus those 10 fucking Chief of the Leafs, and the 5 Johnny Tobacconauts that are coming, and then I got another couple of boxes of some special fucking Cirque du Soleil, whatever the fuck Dunbartons that are coming from Smoke Inn. And damn, dude, it's like what I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what just makes me just continue to just buy and buy and buy shit, and when I'm not smoking as many. I mean, a lot of it is a lot of the stuff that I'm buying, I guess, is I'm just wanting to kind of age it a little bit, and still have plenty of stuff to smoke, because a lot of the cigars that I've got in my Humies now or I've had in there for a couple of years now, and starting to go back and visit those. Let's see what he says here. Sending me the JC Newman, the American, the USA Puro. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So it's not the CAO. It's the JC Newman American. All right. Well, cool. I'm really looking forward to that because I looked at those. I can't find them some bitches anywhere, man. I like them. Just those are ones that I like to smoke them when I'm just got a long day of driving in the truck and shit. I'll pop one of those in and do it up. Yeah, a little 30-minute fucker, and that's sometimes all I got time for, or all the smoke that I want to put in my truck so that it ain't just totally stanking it the fuck up. Yeah, it's a good little cigar. I tell you, for small cigars, I like those, and I like those little Thunder Kisses too, man. Those little fucking Thunder Kisses are really, really good. Yeah, why does the dog chase the cat? Bobby, great analogy. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. I mean, number one, it just makes me happy. You know, um, it's nice to have a great variety, and it's kind of like when you're into like bourbon hunting, you know what I mean, and just the thrill of the chase, and just going out there and finding stuff, and me, I try to buy as much stuff in the wild as I can, support local, support shops, but sometimes it's just there's things I want to get, there's things I want to try. But I did quit buying boxes of shit before I actually tried them, because I've had a couple things that I bought some boxes of it, and I ended up giving most of them away. Okay. Well, my Americano is done, and now I got one of my good old Ethiopian Yirgacheffe pour overs just waiting. Went to Tampa, stopped in at the Grand Cathedral, bought the house blend. And supposedly they were at Atabays, where the Atabays are made. Had the deacon right on. Man, so my Opus shirt that I bought, that I've got my Death Star cigar logo on and all that shit. I didn't even realize that I bought that shirt because I had to have an Opus shirt to wear on the shows and stuff. And I didn't even realize that that's where I bought that from, and it says Grand Cathedral, right on there. I didn't even know anything about it. I guess it used to be like a church, and they converted it over into a cigar joint or something like that. Enrique, if I come down to visit, man, you're gonna have to take me around and show me that, and some of the big name places and shit. Because I would love to check out the fucking the Miami, Tampa, Orlando cigar scene. I bet it's just fabulous, man, for sure. I think though I'm gonna fly. I'm not ever doing no long haul drive shit anymore. I'm too old for that. And it's so freaking tedious and so freaking expensive that it's just like, I don't know. Well, that'd be cool, man. You know what I mean? For sure. Fuente Club opening up in Miami. Well, that's exciting. Shit. If Carlito's going to put an actual club or something down there, that it's going to have all the best shit just sitting right there in the humidor. That's exciting, dude. I'm excited for you. But yeah, I really hope those damn Johnny Tobacco Maduros come tomorrow. I really want to try those out. And I don't know. I've gotten so much room in my humidors, and I'm just kind of like, well, damn it, man. The shit's getting full. I mean, I've got 600 fucking cigars, which I know there's people that's got thousands and thousands and shit. And, but a lot of the cigars that I've got are, high dollar cigars and rare cigars, and, just stuff that people have sent me that I've been like, holy shit, these are so good, and, that kind of, brings me to, another thing that I wanted to share and talk with you guys about tonight. How something sad can bring on something exciting. So, kind of been talking about my wife's sister, Libby, and she's developmentally disabled. She's diabetic. She's got an ostomy, and she just had the worst luck with her health and her brain. Hey, don't take this around. Don't have a fully functional brain. Basically what it is, she's 62 years old, but she's about an 8-year old, 5 to 8 years old. Anyway, we've been taking care of her. She's been living with us for 30 some odd years. And, she's been in and out of the hospital so damn much, and going to the hospital and then going to rehab centers and going to the hospital and going to rehab centers. And, it's just crazy, and, my wife's been taking care of her sister pretty much her whole life. You know what I mean? Her parents helped her out and did some stuff. And, but we just can't take care of her anymore, and my wife's gone back. She got a part-time job now. She's got her cleaning clients that she still does a few people in a business, but she went back to one of her friends' publishing companies and doing some stuff for them part-time. And we just don't have time to be here all the time. And the last time after she went in the hospital and then went into a rehab center for about, I don't know, probably 2 months, came home wasn't home for a fucking week, and she was already having problems and shit and had to go back to the hospital. And I just had to sit Brenda down and just be like, look, baby, we gotta get this shit under control. You know what I mean? I can't continue to watch you suffer, and Libby just treats her sister like shit, just always demanding and barking out orders at her all the time, and just cries like a little child when she doesn't get her way. And dude, been putting up with this shit for decades, and you know, I love my wife, you know what I mean? This was a package deal. I just didn't know it was going to last so long. You know what I mean? But so anyway, and she just had like Medicare, and then she's on, Social Security disability. I mean, she's never worked a day in her life. She doesn't have the capacity to work or any of that kind of stuff. And so we were just like, what are we going to do? So this rehab center that she's been going to, for the past, 2-3 years now, she's been in and out of it. We finally talked to them and just was like, look, we need to look for some long-term care options for her, because we can't take care of her anymore. I mean, it's just not safe. She's falling down a lot and shit in like the middle of the night and falling out of bed and doing this, that, and another. And they were like, well, we could probably take her, but, we got to get her on Medicaid. And I'm like, okay, well, what's that going to take? And so sent them all the financials and sent them all the stuff and sent her all the history and all her social security statements and all that shit. And man, they pushed that shit through in like 3 weeks, got that approval. And so she just got moved into her permanent room today, where she's going to stay at this facility. And it's kind of sad. I know my wife has been really upset by it, and I've been trying to be, really understanding of her. And but it's just, enough is enough. You know what I mean? I'm just tired of it. She's tired of it. I'm tired of watching the way she did everything. So we got her moved in there today. So this room that I'm in now is basically a guest room that Brenda set up, and it's got like a lot of stuff that was her mother's, because her mother used to live in this room. And but anyway, so with Libby being gone, that opens up a bedroom upstairs. And so all this stuff is going to be moved upstairs. So now this room is going to be mine now. Mama's not going to be down here fucking with shit and messing with my shit. And I'm actually going to be able to turn this room into a full-blown studio, where I can have my lights set up all the time, and I'm not having to put shit up and doing all this shit and back and forth and blah, blah, blah. But the exciting part of all of that is there is a closet down here. And I'm already in the works of looking at materials and watching some videos and everything. I'm going to convert that closet into a walk-in humidor. So I'll be sharing that with you guys, and, kind of the journey of what that is and how I build it and what I do with it and everything. But, as I just keep continuing to buy fucking cigars all the time, I need some more room. So that's the exciting thing. Let me get caught up in the chat here for a minute. How expensive the membership will be at the Fuente Club. My friend that was the Rocky Patel rep was hired as the manager. Right on. Well, you got an in with the manager. That's a plus right there. Yeah, maybe he could hook a brother up and get you a decent price on everything. And if nothing else, I mean, at least ought to be able to give you some 411 on, hey, guess what's coming in tomorrow? You need to get your ass up here. Or, hey, you want me to hold you back a couple of these? Or, that's always a great relationship to have. So I hope that works out really, really good. Just finishing the first third of the Maduro, Johnny Tobacconaut. It's starting to open up and transition. I'm enjoying it better than all. Okay, well, that's good. Man, it really does. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I love my wife and everything. And I get the fact that, her sister was born that way. She can't help it, but it doesn't negate the fact that I didn't fucking marry her sister. I married her. You know what I mean? And I've really had to I've really had to train myself to be able to tolerate her, and because she treats me like shit. You know what I mean? She gets mad at me, but I don't put up with her shit. You know what I mean? I'll tell her like it is. When she's acting the fucking little child, I'll fucking scold her like a little child, and I don't put up with her shit. But yeah, it's been it's been pretty trying. I mean, dude, she's been living with us for over 30 years, and it's time. So yeah, it really is. It's a relief, and it's kind of bittersweet from the fact that her. So my wife is her rep payee for her Social Security, and Libby's always had her own money coming in from Social Security, which she contributed to the home. I made her give me X amount of dollars a month to cover her food and cover her rent and her utilities. And I mean, I wasn't allowing her to live here for free, because shit. Ever since she's been gone, my water bill's gone down almost $50 a month. That's how many times she's going to the bathroom and shit. But so yeah, but it's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be cool, dude. I'm excited. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna. I've never done it before. So that's part of the fun thing about a lot of the cigar shit too. Is you move into different phases and you find out different stuff. And I love learning, and I love educating myself. So this whole process of building a freaking a walk-in humidor that works, and find out what's the good shit. I don't want to buy no crap ass humidifier or something. I want something that they got at a cigar shop, because I got a lot of money in fucking sticks, you know, and gonna have a lot more, I mean, shit, the fucking, and this isn't even what I paid for these sons of bitches, but 13,000 fucking dollars worth of fucking cigars, So I want to make sure I build it right, and I want to make sure that they're protected, and I'm going to go in and gut that fucker and seal it and put everything in there that's supposed to be in there, and buy some real quality cedar. And, I got a buddy of mine that does some woodwork. I'm going to have him make some custom made shelves for me. I'll have to buy the wood, but he'll come in and measure everything up for me and build all that shit. And, it should be pretty cool. Well, dude, I had the listening room. You know what I mean? I had it. Have you seen pictures of my vinyl room? Have you ever seen what the Death Star used to be? Enrique, have you ever seen that? Yeah, it was a lot, dude. You know what I mean? I mean, it's basically having a 6-year-old for 30 years, with a lot of medical issues and a lot of problems, you know. Hey, Vron, welcome, buddy. Just got back from the local B&M, smoked a Alma de Cilio. Nice. That's a great stick. That is a great stick, man. Love it. Right on. Yeah, well, and I had to take care of her mother and shit too. You know what I mean? Her her dad's health started failing, They were living down in Wichita. So we bought a duplex. Her parents and Libby and them lived over on one side, and we lived in the other. And I refurbed this whole damn duplex and did all kinds of shit. Built 365 feet of privacy fence and the whole 9 yards. But anyway, she lived over there for just a little bit, and then George died. He had a kidney transplant, and then he ended up with leukemia. And so then we just had everything going on. Well, we stayed in the same house. Well, I didn't even know that her mother didn't know nothing about paying bills or anything. And I mean, she racked up like fucking 50 grand in credit card debt. I mean, she was going to Walmart on credit cards and shit and everything, and was like, oh my God, So ended up having to file bankruptcy for her. And then we bought this house that we live in now in 2012 and moved Libby and her mother in here and took care of her mother until she passed away on May the 4th, like 4 years ago. So, and she had issues and, ostomy and all this health stuff and everything. So took care of her mother and Libby. And then after her mother died, then, there wasn't anywhere for Libby to go but to a facility, you know what I mean? And stuck it out as long as we could, but I just couldn't, just couldn't do it anymore. Oh, well, I had a newborn. Well, she ain't quite newborn, but hey, welcome, Ray, everybody. Ray's in the house. Ray's getting ready to, like I said, Ray hit 500 subs, so he's doing really good. In fact, he's getting ready on the 25th of July on a Saturday. He's going to do his celebration show, and he's invited me to come on. It's going to be, like a 12-hour show, marathon show. So if you guys got any time on the 25th to come in and check out Ray's show, I'll be on there with him and just kind of hanging out and doing my thing. So you haven't? All right. Well, I don't know. Let's see if I'm just going to pull them up on my phone, bro. That'd be the quickest way that I can show them to you. So one of my things that I used to do before my eyes went shit was I repair old stereo equipment and shit. And I had a little side business called the Hi-Fi Jedi. And then of course I got a YouTube channel that's called the Hi-Fi Jedi. I don't post anything on it anymore because I'm just not doing that shit. But it had my vinyl stuff. And let's see, here we go. So I'll show you some pictures of what my listening room looked like. So I had it decked out. I had a hell of a fucking collection. Had a bunch of autograph shit. I have fucking CDs all up around the top and vinyl hanging on the wall. Had my office set up down in there. My little studio shit. RGB setup. And then of course I had the Death Star mural on the ceiling and shit at the time, and then my system, so I had an Arcam amp, which is English made, Focal speakers, Phase Tech sub, and I had a fucking Project X2 turntable with the Sumiko Moonstone cartridge on it. And man, that motherfucker, that sounded good. That was about 15 grand for that stereo setup. And man, it fucking sounded amazing. But when I sold all my records, that's when I, got into smoking cigars and just kind of decided to, go that way with it, So yeah, I've already had the listening room, bro. You know what I mean? And now I like just being able to jump in my chair and, tell old Amazon Echo what I want to hear, and it just comes right on. I don't even have to fuck with anything, That's good to see everybody reaching out and supporting one another. That's cool, Veron. Yeah, so it's July the 25th. It's from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I'm sure that Ray's going to have some other guests. I'm planning because I'm going to be on vacation that weekend, so I'm planning on doing the whole damn thing. I got a bunch of cigars lined up, and I'm going to probably do some giveaways for Ray, to celebrate his 500 subs, because that's just freaking huge, and yeah, I mean, you're gonna be on for 12 fucking hours, man. I'm sure that everybody's gonna be able to carve out enough time for at least one stogie to come in and share with us, Ray. And it's gonna be a fun show. I think it will. Jack of all trades. Well, I'm a Sean of all trades. You know what I mean? But I've had to teach myself every damn thing that I know, But like I said, I really get into the shit. You know what I mean? I educate myself, and I want to know everything about it, and I buy the very, very, very best that I can afford, plus a fraction more. You know what I mean? Because you got to buy the good shit. You know what I mean? That's all there is to it, man. Right on, Bobby's gonna come. Yeah, it was a cool room, man. It really, really was. The My Father Lalil Todd. Right on. What'd you think of it? Okay, it was spicy but really good. Loved it. Yeah, it's only like $12. They got, I think, like 3 vitolas of it out of Cassie's place, and I don't know. I've only smoked one of them, so I'm not gonna say I like it better than the blue, but I don't know. I'm gonna let them sit for a couple weeks and go back to it. But yeah, I was excited to get that stick too. Enrique's had it too. Yeah, 12-hour cigar-a-thon. So I was telling exactly, Mr. Cash. Yeah, buy once, cry once. But I've always said that I always try to monetize my hobbies and shit as much as possible. And you jump hobbies, you know what I mean? You just do. You want to live, you want to experience things, you want to do shit. And when you buy good shit and you're done with something, like, dude, I made 14 grand off of my record collection over what I fucking paid for it. Because like I said, a lot of those records I started collecting back in the 70s and 80s when I was a kid. And so they were worth fucking jack. They were original presses and in dynamite shade. Everything was, very good plus to mint. And had some rare stuff. And Enrique says, "Hey, Cash." And because Mr. Cash is kind of just listening to this at times because he working tonight. So he just listens. So I'll read that out for you. But yeah, so he's doing that 12-hour. Well, I was telling him, I was like, I can do 12 hours because there's an app called Whatnot, and I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but it's like a live auction app. And man, there is every fucking thing for sale on that, man. People sell fucking clothes, people sell collectibles, people sell tennis shoes, people sell knickknacks and jewelry and watches and junk shit and good shit. And you get on there and it's kind of like this. And I would be like, hey, this cigar I'm auctioning this off. And it goes to the highest bidder. And, I actually sold a lot of records and bought a lot of records through that Whatnot app. But anyway, there was a fucking cigar or a record shop that was one of my favorites. And they did a 24-hour auction. and I got on there with them. And, you know, everybody knew who the Hi-Fi Jedi was because I bought a lot of shit from people and hooked people up with some good records. So, you know, they just called me Hi-Fi. And fucking, I was on there for, you know, I got up once to make me a sandwich, and I got up a couple times to go to the bathroom. But other than that, I was on that motherfucking auction 24 hours straight, you know, with no cocaine. You know what I mean? So it was kind of crazy, man. Yeah, dude. You know, I love it. You know, I loved collecting it. You know, that was another one of those, you know, thrill of the chase, you know, hunt things. You know, every time I would travel, I'd have to stop at record stores and I'd have to look through their bin. I love digging bins because it's just, you know, just like you go into a humidor, you go into a liquor store and it's like, oh my God, there's a fucking Pappy 15 or there's a, you know, there's goddamn Opus Dubai or whatever, you know. And I would always just shop and buy records and go through that shit all the time. And, you know, I really, really dug it. But kind of getting back to what I was talking about, you know, so, you know, building that stuff, doing all that stuff, getting into the hobbies the way that I have, you know, now I'm excited because it's research time. You know, it's time for me to, uh, you know, get into it and see, you know, and talk to some of my locals. I'm going to talk to Cassie and be like, hey, you know, what kind of wood you got in here exactly, and what's your humidification device that you use, and all that kind of stuff, and you know, and have some fun watching some videos of other people that have built the shit and see how it's done and everything. But you know, I really got to have me a walk-in humidor at this point in my life. You know what I mean? I feel like I feel like I deserve it after 30 plus years of servitude. You know what I mean? I earned that motherfucking closet, bitch. I'll tell you what, you know. Oh man. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Vron. Well put. Don't sell yourself short, you know. I want the best and I want it now, you know. Um, yeah, legit temper tantrums. I mean, that's it, you know. And dude, I'm 57, you know what I mean? And I've worked my ass off for decades. And, you know, shit, I had my first job when I was like 14, you know. So I've been working a long time. And if I want something, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? We're Americans. You're always going to be in debt. You know, you're always going to spend more fucking money than you make, you know, unless you're fortunate enough to, you know, have lucked out and got a really high paying job. But the thing with that is too that I found is it don't matter what you fucking make, you spend it anyway. You know, the more money I've made over the years and all that shit, you know, it's like the money I make now, if I had that income at 20, holy fuck, I would be dead. You know what I mean? I would totally be dead at that point. You know what I mean? Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and I got, you know, so I got that new freaking, that new coffee machine that I bought with my fucking with my whiskey money. This some bitch is nice. This is that it's that new freaking Ninja Auto Barista Pro. I mean, it just does every fucking thing. You just put coffee and water in it, and it automatically grinds it, and it calibrates the grinder, and it makes like 13 different kinds of coffee from espresso all the way up to like cold coffees and cold presses and shit. And so when I had that, then I took my damn Nespresso machine and my pour over setup that I have upstairs and brought that down here in the Death Star. So I got that shit down here now, and ended up giving my Keurig machine to my daughter and her husband. They don't have no damn money. So I hooked them up with that and gave them probably, 100 fucking pods of coffee, but I do love that machine, and like I said, I've paid for it with, money out of, that I haven't spent on liquor. And I just hit a big milestone. So 3 months today, guys, 92 days sober for old Fogey. And it's been great. And I'm so glad I've done it. And like I said, it's, I've saved a lot of money because I always drink high end liquor, just like everything else. I buy the best and don't fuck around. And hell, that coffee machine cost me almost $1,000, and my wife was like, what the fuck? And I was like, hey, am I drinking anymore? Am I going out and buying fucking secondary bottles for, $400 or $500 a piece? No. So $1,000 coffee machine for me is a no-brainer. You know what I mean? Yeah, Tesla robot. I gotta have the sexy barista model. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna have me a robot, she gonna be fine as shit. You know what I mean? Oh man, how long you been alcohol free, Enrique? Thank you. Thanks, Guns. I appreciate that, brother, for sure. It was, but I'm at the point now where it's just like I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm totally, totally good. And you know, thank you, Bobby. Yeah, it is a big deal for me. Wow, look at that. Congratulations to you on your sober journey, buddy. That's amazing. And I did quit for 2 years at one point. I told you that, and then had to have one drink with my pops before he died, and jumped right back up on the fucking off the wagon. You know, I but I'm okay. You know what I mean? I don't miss it. I don't miss fucking feeling like shit, dude. You know, it's like every fucking time I'd get drunk, it would just kill me. Just hangovers, it just fucking hurt. I had headaches I mean, a good whiskey hangover would fucking be like a 3-day hangover, and it's so nice waking up and not being fucking still drunk or, feeling like shit. Mm. Man, now this is the sweet spot on this baby. Once you start getting down about halfway through this stick, and I've had this some bitch lit up for almost about an hour, and I still got almost a fucking Toro left out of it to fucking smoke on. Um, thank you, sir. Yep, we're doing it, man. We're toting the note, and appreciate all the support. I mean, it really helps. That you guys are there with me, and the kind words and the support and everything is great. And like I said, I know uh, I could reach out to any one of you guys at any point, and if I needed a brother, I needed somebody to be there for me to talk me off a ledge or give me some encouragement or something like that. I know each and every one of you guys would be there, and that just, you know what I mean? We boys, man. You know what I mean? I fucking love it. Well, they are. Yeah, actually remember the show. I I have done some shit. Thank you, brother. You know, just being blacked out. You know, I've been in like some virtual lounges per se, and just blacked out drunk and did some fucked up shit and said some fucked up shit that I shouldn't have said, and ended up not even being welcome in there anymore. You know what I mean? And I don't even remember. I don't even fucking remember it, you know, or what happened or anything, you know. And some people come back and told me later, hey, you know, who the fuck was you, you know? And it wasn't good. But yeah, my mind is so much clearer now, and everything is all you know, it's just better. You know, I'm too fucking old to be drinking like that. You know, now if I could actually still just sit down and, you know, have a stogie and pull out a Glencairn and fill it about halfway up and sip on it all night, I'd be good. But I can't do that. You know, my fucking addictive personality just won't allow me to do that anymore. You know what I mean? I start drinking, and then, you know, the demons come out, you know, and I just keep pouring and pouring and pouring. And then next thing I know, I don't even know who I am or where the fuck I am or what I'm doing, you know? And that's when you do some stupid shit, like you're all fucked up and you run out of liquor or something, or you run out of cigarettes, or you want something, and you go just drive up around the corner to Quick Trip and get a fucking DWI. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just don't even want to take that fucking chance of that happening or anything, you know. Not gonna do it, you know. So have you guys gotten any new stogies besides that Tobacconaut Maduro that you've got this week, that you, or in the, you know, last couple of weeks, that you've actually had a chance to sit down and enjoy? I did get to when well, I was on Marvin's show on Tuesday, and I smoked one of those Lampert Baba Yagas, and I think those are going to be good, but man, they're going to have to sit for a while. Um, that cigar was, what's the word I want to use? It was fucking brash. It was a very brash cigar, real punchy in the fucking throat kind of cigar. And I mean, it did have a couple of good, you know, moments in it where it was really enjoyable, but I think that some bitch is going to have to really mellow out for me for a while. Oh, dude, Enrique, and in fact, you love that cigar. I got a ton of them in my humidor, and I'll throw one of those. I love that Noir Connecticut. It's I mean, it's not, you know, mild. It's like medium full, but it just the complexity of it, and the way that it transitions, man, you know, that's a dynamite fucking stick. Probably one of my favorite Connecticut's, you know. Hey, Yaws is in the house. Welcome, buddy. Glad you could make it. You're about on spot for your usual time, you know. I don't know what Yaws, what part of the country are you in? Are you West Coast? Nice. That's that one you're going to send me, right? The 250th, the Leroy Neiman. Yeah, so that's that yearly release that they do that like has like the art and shit. Like I picked up down at that little joint when I met Mr. Cash. I got some of the 25 Leroy Neiman's, and it was called the Jazz Horn. I bought 2 of those. I haven't smoked it yet. They've just been sitting in the humidor, but I did see that they just came out with this year's release. What's Young? What's the name of that Leroy Neiman for this year? And you know, did it have like the cool artwork and everything like it had on the sleeve? No Lamperts, man. They're good, Enrique. Talk about a great little banger stick. Um, their little Gordito fucking Ocean Breeze is really good. And then, of course, that Lampert 2025 Limitada that came out uh, was by far my favorite cigar of 2025. I mean, that some bitch, you know, was a nice, like a box press cigar, just delicious, just absolutely blew me away. And in fact, Bobby, I think you sent me one of those, didn't you? Didn't you send me a or maybe that? No, that who was that? That was Ray. I think it was either you or Ray sent me one of those, and I was glad because I only had like 2 left. So now I got an extra one. West Coast, yeah, yeah. So like, you know, hey everybody, welcome Todd, the cigar idiot. You know, Todd, we were just talking earlier. You know, one of the things I was bringing up is why do I buy so many fucking cigars? You know, well, if you guys follow Todd and check out his channel and all the things that he's doing, man, he's got a nice selection, man. Oh my God. I tell you what, I'm pretty envious of a lot of the cigars that you got in your collection, brother, for sure. Oh no shit. JFK birthday, dude. I got to get a couple of those anyway, just to have them. You know, Nara, what is up? Welcome. Glad you could make it. Yeah, you do, dude. You know, in fact, if you get a chance later to watch, you know, the part of the show that you missed, I was just telling everybody that I got an opportunity, and I'm getting ready to build a walk-in in my house down here in the Death Star. So, because I'm just, you know, I got too many, and I'm not buying a bunch more fucking, you know. I figure for like what a Ray Sheen would cost me or something like that, I could just build a whole fucking closet and then, you know, take the next, you know, couple of years completely filling it up. You know what I mean? But dude, you got great taste. You really do. In fact, I saw that cigar bomb that you sent to Ray, and holy shit, you know that wasn't exactly the chicken's feed. You sent him some really nice stuff, and that was a lot of great sticks and a lot of fucking money. You know what I mean? That wasn't no cheap that wasn't no cheap ass fucking thing. That was a very, very generous gesture and gift that you sent him. And my hat's off to you, brother. That's the kind of love and kindness and things that I've grown to love about this community. Is shit like that. You know what I mean? You didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? And you know, but man, that was in fact, I had to watch that video a couple of times, and I called Ray. You know, Ray and I are friends, and I called him, and I was just like, dude, it was like, I don't know if you guys remember the old Robin Williams movie that was called Club Paradise, where, it was Barry and Barry, and half the time they're down there and they're trying to score weed and shit, and fucking, uh, oh, damn it. The guy that played he was in Schitt's Creek. He was the dad in Schitt's Creek. And then he was, like the scientist guy in like Splash and shit. And anyway, fucking, towards the end, he comes running up with this giant trash bag full of fucking weed. And he was like, Barry, I scored. So when I called Ray, I used that reference, and I was like, Ray, you scored. Uh, yeah, Todd, just sent him a fuck ton of shit, man. Hey, Ryan's here. What's up, brother? Yeah, I love it. In fact, I had the Club Paradise soundtrack on vinyl too. I collected a lot of fucking movie soundtracks. Had a lot of the original ones. Had my original Star Wars and E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark. I had my original fucking Terminator fucking soundtrack. That motherfucker was worth some money. And thank you, Todd. Yeah, Eugene Levy, Mr. Eyebrows. But yeah, he was Barry and Barry, and they were trying to get weed and they were trying to get laid. But that's a good old movie, man. I like to pull that out every once in a while and watch that. And had a lot of good fucking Jimmy Cliff fucking reggae. Jimmy Cliff was in the movie, and it was really good. Doing good, bro. Just, bullshitting. I'm fucking enjoying a fucking Opus 25th El Tributo tonight, because I had a bunch of fucked up shit happen to me this week and had to spend a bunch of money on my truck. And so I'm kind of celebrating. And you can check out the earlier part of the show, and there's a lot of good stuff on it. I highly recommend, if you get some time later on this weekend or next week, to pop back in on it and watch. Sheffield Labs. So was that a pressing plant, Enrique? There's so many different places and so many varieties and so many different pressing plants where they freaking, do oh my god, certain pressings were way more expensive and way more sought after than other ones, and you know it just one of the other things I was going to tell you about, the vinyl collecting thing is I kind of started smoking cigars and that, and cataloging all them some bitches and keeping them clean. When I was smoking down here, records create hella static. I mean, hella static electricity. It's a lot of work to keep them cling free, if you will. And kept getting ash in the shit and kept getting ash on my stylus, and I'd have to clean my stylus a lot, and it just didn't fucking didn't really jive. Yeah, there's man, what's the joint? um Hang on, let me look this up real quick. I should know it right off the top of my head because I bought a fuck ton of their stuff. um Let me see here. Audio file. Oh shit, one of my lights went off. Mobile Fidelity. I don't know why I couldn't remember that, um mobile fidelity is oh shit. Hang on, let me get my fucking light fixed up here, and my shit's ain't all fucked up. I was running on battery, and I guess it didn't want to give no mo. The Energizer Buddy was empty. But yeah, all those mobile fidelity, MoFis and the what's the other ones that come in the actual like books and shit. Hey brother, well I'm glad that you made it. Thanks for hanging out with us a little bit, and I got your bomb getting ready to go. It'll be on the way to you next week, and that'll have your Opus 25th in there, and I'll throw some other goodies in there with it, man. So glad you could come hang. But is that what it looks like? It's moonwalking on the ash. That's great, man. Yeah, we'll do, brother. We'll talk to you soon, man. Have a great rest of your weekend, Enrique, for sure. Yeah, man. I like their stuff. Now, I will say this: I did get, and I bought a box of them because I like the EP Carrillo 15th anniversary so much that I thought that Room 101 15th anniversary was going to be really good. And that was one of those deals where I bought a box of those. I wasn't impressed with that. Some of their other cigars, I'd rather have a box of the Namakubis than the 15th anniversary. And I guess they got like a 25th anniversary or something coming out sometime. I don't know. But they do make some good cigars for sure. And I've enjoyed a lot of them. But that I do like that Namakubi. It's good. It's that fucking tampon wrapped looking fucking cigar. And I don't know. And man, the old Chief of the Leafs, I'll tell you what, I've really been enjoying those. For the price, holy shit, that's been a good find. And that was a fun show. It was really good to have Chief on the show last week and have him hang out with us as long as he did, because he's on East Coast time, so it was way past that boy's bedtime before he ended up leaving us. But I think I'm gonna. Other than the only other cigar that I really want that I've been waiting for is, and it's a Dunbarton. Imagine that. Is that fucking Sober Mesa Tapa Negra? That's that double. It's like the Caliente, and it's kind of like a Sober Mesa Connecticut with like a sun-grown Corojo Maduro cap or something. I really want to try and get some of those and see what they're all about. Well, I'm glad you liked it, man. I did, and like I said, for the price point and for how quickly I got them, and he got some nice little boxes and threw some swag in with it, and I got a hat and a freaking shirt, and I mean, he didn't have to send all that shit to me, but he did. He's just a really cool fucking guy. But Yeah, so I think I'm just going to chill out on buying for a while. I mean, good God, with all the Opus shit that I bought in the last 2 months, and all the 5 packs, and the fucking boxes of the Don Carlos Sangre de Toros, and that box of fucking rare pink blacks that I bought. I got to slow the fuck down. I've spent way too much fucking money on cigars, and what my normal budget would be for buying cigars in a month, within 2 months, that should pay for everything that I need to build that humidor. And I'm gonna share the whole process and journey and everything on that with you guys, from showing you the before and the conception, and what I'm putting in it and how I'm building it and all that stuff. So as I progress through that and learn and everything, I'll be putting up some videos and shit showing you what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and where I got all the stuff, and all that. Yeah, dude. Well, you should be able to try them for next weekend. Like I said, they went out in the mail today, and you got one of each. You got the Habano and the Maduro. So, I mean, that's the only two blends that he has, and you really don't need any more. I mean, those are two great cigars that you could use as a go-to, and as affordable as they are. I can see myself smoking a lot of those, and I was really glad that he reached out to me on Facebook, and said that I needed to try his stuff for sure. And you got some other goodies in there. There's some decent sticks, some stuff that I really enjoy, and I know you will too. And but I need to just, God, I need to just start smoking some of what I got. Um, and I've got so many things that I bought boxes of, and God, I've got so many freaking Opus. And well, it is an addiction. you know. Well, you got a little bit more time on your hands, to be able to do that, and I don't know. I'm still, like last week on the show, I think I smoked 3 cigars, which that's unusual for me to just sit down and pound 3 cigars. But, um, I don't have the time that I want to. And I try to have at least 1 or 2 cigars in the morning with a coffee, get up early, and, just hit it. And hopefully, I can, take like a dagger, just a little, half Corona Ashton or something, and just, throw that in my lunchbox, and be able to have a little stogie after lunch or something, or, whatever. And like I said, really good thing is Cassie's joint is right around the corner from where my work is. So I can go back to the shop and kind of take a long lunch and go run over there and enjoy a stick in the afternoon. And those do me well, because I kind of start pretty early. Most days I clock in at about 6 a.m. and work till 4:30 or 5 every day. And sometimes breaking up my day and taking a long lunch and going and having a good stogie is very necessary. It's like that what is it, that Tool song? It's like, this is necessary. you know uh I love it, man. Love my cigars, and I got so many good ones. And I really, took my time, and I've weeded out a lot of the stuff that I just don't like. You know what I mean? And everybody's got their faves, everybody's got this, everybody's got that. And, I just need to just start rolling back through some of the stuff that I've had put away for a couple years and start with those and, really get to enjoy them for everything that they could possibly be. You know what I mean? Young says, I put a Titan to bronze LE cigar. Oh, right on. Blew me away the second time I tried it. I think it needs some time to settle in my humidor. Okay, well, when I get that one, Young, I'll just put it in the aging box for 6 months, and then, maybe, maybe at some point, you can come on the show and we'll pull those out and smoke the same stogie. That would be cool for sure. So another thing I wanted to share with you, I've been talking about, it's World Cup, Jesus, you can't go anywhere. All right, bet. That's a plan, brother. And we've been hosting games here, which I don't know how in the fuck people are affording to pay $1,000 for soccer tickets. You know what I mean? It just don't make any fucking sense. And some of the parking has been like $100. But anyway, like I said, I was really wanting to get out and try to find some people, that smoke cigars and, go hit up some of the, local lounges and shit like that and try to find some people. But I'll be damned if I've been around and I've been hitting some of these and I have hardly met anybody from, from overseas that are here to watch soccer. And one of the things that I've noticed and I've found that a lot of these people that are coming to watch these fucking games are young dudes. I mean, they're like in their fucking 20s and 30s, and I don't, they're probably, the healthy generation, they don't fucking drink much and they don't smoke and they don't, because I really was hoping to find, some old dude like me, from, Argentina or something that come up to watch a game and, sit down and get the camera out and bullshit with them and talk to them about, the cigar experience in that country and, listen to his journey and whatever. But man, I've really been surprised that I just, haven't found anybody. And they had this big ass like orange parade and shit here. There was like 22,000 people marching down the street, down Main Street or Broadway. I think it was Main Street and, or Grand. And man, most of them were really young. And like down at Power and Light where they have all the parties set up and all that shit, it's just a bunch of young guys and gals that are here, So I've been kind of disappointed that I haven't been able to, find some, some guests that are in town for soccer that freaking smoke, Oh, nice. Have not had uh Flor de Oliva Maduro. Right on. I haven't had that La Gloria and I haven't had that Cro Magnon. I haven't had either one of those. Okay, so you got the World Cup. Yeah. Well, you might. Like I said, I was very surprised. I thought for sure that I was going to find some people and be able to sit down and bullshit and share some stories and have some good content for the channel. And, maybe even have somebody on a remote live and sit at a lounge or, outside of the stadium or something and bullshit with somebody and smoke a cigar with them and maybe trade some cigars, but I have not had the luck. So I've been pretty much like disappointed in that, but it's all good. I'm not tripping on it. It's one of those things. I've never really been a huge soccer guy, um, like I said, we used to call the soccer players the advanced kickball players when I was playing football and shit. But man, you really got to give those guys some love, some credit. That's a brutal sport, and those guys are fucking athletes now. They are some real hardcore athletes. To be able to run up and down and do all the shit they do, and all the bicycle kicking and the fucking, oh my God, man. They just, it's no wonder it's the most popular sport in the world, and actually I've been watching more soccer lately than I ever have. And I've really been kind of enjoying it, you know. Well, that's true, young, for sure. Um, just run into people and like sometimes I'll run around and I'll have my Dunbarton hat on, or I'll have my Opus hat on, or my Perdomo Army hat on or something, and somebody will see that and they'll just strike up a conversation with me, and we'll sit there and bullshit for 35 fucking minutes when we're both busy and we both got somewhere to go, but we make time to associate. It's really great. Deep cut. What is up, man? Good to see you. How's your week been going, my man? Said he had a La Herencia de Cuba, Pennsylvania broadleaf, and finishing with a Gurkha Cellar Reserve 18-year pig. Right on. I think that was the ones that Marvin was talking about on the show on Tuesday. Those cellar aged Gurkhas. Never had one of those, but I imagine it's probably pretty good. Went to the Huskies football game last year and forgot my lighter. I had the hardest time finding someone else who smoked. Yeah, I mean, even like like cigarette smoking and shit like that. You don't even find somebody that smokes cigarettes where you can, grab a Bic. Hey, Donuts, welcome, brother. Glad you can make it in. Just hanging tonight, having a good show. Yeah, man. In fact, I tell you what, you get a chance, deep cuts, come back and watch the beginning of the show, because I got a fucking story of how crazy my week has been and all the shit that I've been through. About got in a wreck and fucking had to buy new wheels and tires for my truck, and just, oh my God, it's just been fucking crazy. And yes, thank God it is Friday. I am so glad. And donuts, what are you smoking on tonight, dude? You got a good stick rolling? Oh, right on. Yeah, dude, I could have got hurt real bad. I really could have fucking just got mangled, and hell, I could be in the hospital right now. Uh, God bless me with the ability to watch and be alert that more. I mean, shit. Of course, it didn't hurt the fact that I think I pulled 2 double shots of espresso before I left the house that morning. So I was like, okay, I had the radar on whether I even wanted to or not. Oh, dude, that's a good one. That's a really, really good one. I like the chimole stuff. I've smoked them all. I've even smoked that Fox Chimole. That was a good blend that they did for Fox Cigars. And then I got that new Pangu Double Corona that they just came out with at the PCA this year. Haven't smoked those yet, but that's a little bit bigger Vitola, and I'm going to let them rest for a while. And thank you, brother. Appreciate that. It was tailgating. Well, that's cool. Right on. Well, that's all right, brother. I'm glad you could make it in and just hang out with us anyway. Hopefully you had a good week. Hopefully nothing too crazy happened. So I had a couple of fucking weird things. I'll share this with you, Donuts. So I was at work, coming home the other day. Where's this fucking picture at, man? I gotta find it. So I'm driving down the fucking street and I see this shit going on. Well, so got got a sniper dude, and then there's another cop down here that's laying down on the ground with a fucking AR. They had the streets fucking shut down. Don't know what the hell was going on with that. They were after somebody. I don't know if it was like a, I'm gonna kill myself shit, or they had a fugitive that they were after. And yeah, that kind of freaked me out a little bit. And then just yesterday, there's a fucking semi turned over on its side, cutting across a 2-lane highway that's normally like a 65, 70 mile an hour highway, that had that sumbitch shut down for miles. I mean, just miles. Right on. Glad you came in, man, and thank you so much. I appreciate you. You're always welcome here. Glad you could come. Maybe sometime, I could have you as a guest on the show or something. That would be great. But have a good night. Have a great rest of your weekend, and hope you got some good sticks in your future, and everything goes good. Deep, appreciate you. Yeah, I don't know how in the fuck. I don't know how he got rolled over and across the entire. I mean, it went from shoulder to shoulder on 2-lane highway. It just blocked the whole damn thing. I mean, he must have just flipped over and just skidded down the road until he landed straight, because he was going like this, and then he ended up on his side like this. So that was freaky. That was really freaky. But I don't like that shit. In fact, when we lived over in that duplex that I was telling you about, that we had, with my mother and father-in-law and my sister-in-law, the fucking cops, it was wintertime, and I look out back, and there was a fucking cop out back of my house that was in full gear and had a rifle, and he was laying on the ground in the snow, pointing his fucking rifle at one of the houses over across the street down that way. And oh, that would be great, man. I've never even had one of those, dude. So yeah, you wanna reach out to me, send me an email, and we can swap some stuff. And yeah, I'd love to share a cigar with you on the show. That would be fucking awesome, man. But let's definitely set that up. Just get with me. oldfogystogies@gmail.com, and we'll try to make that happen, man. That would be great. But yeah, so he's down there, and then I look down, and there's cop cars, there's detective cars, um, there's all, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, bro. That'll be a good show for sure. And I'm like, what the fuck? Well, this cop's sitting there laying in the snow. And I was like, I didn't want to like startle him and shit, but I went down in the garage and I grabbed a sleeping bag, like my fucking 20-degree Arctic fucking sleeping bag. And I went out and I was like, hey, officer, I was like, let me put this down on the ground and shit so you're not laying in the fucking snow. And so, yeah, he was real appreciative and he was like, well, thank you, sir. And yeah, I fucking laid that fucking thing down. He sat there and laid there. Well, what it was is it was fucking tweakers. It was meth heads and they were fucking making pop bottle meth over in this fucking house. And it was a bust is what it was. And, I don't know, the city that I grew up in, especially back in the day, when they kind of made the transition from crank to, well, they called it crank and then they called it ice and then ice turned up being meth, you know. At one time, the city that I lived in, Independence, Missouri, they called it Methapendence, Missouri, because it was the number one producing city of methamphetamine in the country. They had more per capita busts of meth in that town than anywhere else. And even some of the bigger cities, you know, those guys were just making that shit. And, you know, it was the old original shit, you know what I mean? And it wasn't that pop bottle shit. It was, you know, like some fucking, almost like some Walter White kind of shit, you know, and just everybody got addicted to that shit. And just, I got so many of my fucking friends that are either dead or still in prison, that I went to high school with that got into that shit and got into making that shit. And man, I'll tell you what, you know, you guys ever been around that world or known any people that gone in that world or gone down that road yourself? You know, I mean, me being around that as a young man, I kind of dabbled with it a little bit until I figured out that, you know, methamphetamine is 1000% pure concentrated evil is what it is. I tell you what. And, you know, it's no wonder that, you know, that the officers be out there after them motherfuckers and just doing that shit. And, yeah, dude. And that's so fucking scary. You know, this fentanyl shit is so fucking powerful. Then they're putting it in everything, you know, they're lacing, you know, fucking X and Molly and, you know, like they used to take, you know, joints or cigarettes and dip them in formaldehyde. And they're like, you know, like the tea and, you know, they're fucking putting fentanyl and all kinds of shit. And it's just fucking killing people just left and right, man, just overdoses and overdoses. And we had a, we had a crazy thing that happened during that second Super Bowl that the Chiefs won. Oh my God. Look at this. 2 hours into this El Tributo, and I'm still puffing on it. This is a great fucking stick. But anyway, so these guys were Chiefs fans, and they were at a party at their house, and I guess they went and got some blow, and it was fucking fentanyl lace shit or fentanyl derivative or something and fucking killed all three of them. They all fucking overdosed. And it was a big deal and big investigation and everything. And it was just like, you know, just, hey, let's get a ball tonight and fucking party and, you know, celebrate our fucking Chiefs. And then you just end up fucking dead, you know, just insane, you know. And I've been watching like there's a show on HBO that's called Euphoria. I don't know if you've ever watched it. They just had like the third season come out, and you know shows this gal and her battle with addictions and stuff. And shows her like muling that shit from Mexico into the States, and they're like, filling up fucking balloons full of fucking fentanyl and making her fucking swallow all these fucking things and then driving over across. Oh my God. It's just like, and then that group of people that she was muling for was making like some party drugs, some designer drugs, and took it to this guy in California that like, ran like the biggest fucking strip clubs at Cali. And one of his girls got some of that shit and she died on it, and another one died on it. And it's like, oh my God, it's fucking scary, and I mean, hell, you can just go about any fucking where and they'll give you some fucking Narcan. It's almost like you almost want to have some in your fucking truck or your lunchbox or something, just in case you run across somebody that's fucking ODing, because you see them everywhere. It's crazy shit. Mostly trafficking. Yeah. Yeah, they're fucking I don't think they're making the shit up here like they do. I mean, those fucking cartels, man, they're fucking powerful motherfuckers, and they be running that shit into this country like crazy. Oh, nice, Young. He's got the My Father La Bijou. I love that cigar. That's a good one. Man, it's really tasty, and it's not that fucking expensive. Most of my father line stuff's really affordable. I mean, if you really look at it and watch out for deals, you can pick up some boxes of those La Bijous for a really good price. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a party on the palate, man, for sure. Yeah, I would imagine you'd almost have to. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, you never know what situation you're going to go. Hell, even just going and doing a wellness check on somebody and they're fucking ODing, and you're a pin away from being able to save their life, or be going over their fucking loved one's house and tell them that they fucking OD'd. It's crazy for certain. It scares the shit out of me. Of course, I'm way, way too fucking old to be doing any white dope, you know. I mean, I used to love me some cocaine back in the day, and we'd get some pretty pure fucking shit around here. You'd go buy a fucking teener or an 8 ball and they'd fucking shave it right off of a fucking kilo. And but it got too expensive for one. And when it seems like you're the only one, buying the shit, we used to be, when we were younger, we'd go to the bar and we'd fucking pound the fuck out of some Crown Royal and Cokes and get fucked up and have a good time. And then we'd go to like IHOP or Awful Waffle and fucking, you know, get some dinner and soak up some shit and then go home and go to sleep. Well, then you start getting into that shit and it's like, about the time the bars close and it's time to call the Coke man so you can fucking party and you can just keep drinking all night. And we kind of went down that road for a while. And shit, dude, I'll tell you what, if I even thought about doing a bump nowadays, I'd be fucking dead. My heart would fucking just blow right the fuck up. I guarantee it. You know what I mean? I'm glad that I will say this as a former addict and a drug user and a drug enjoyer. At least I did it in an era where the shit wasn't going to kill you like that. You know what I mean? Never felt like I was ODing or close to ODing or any of that kind of shit. But it's some pretty fucking scary shit nowadays. I don't know. There's no fucking way I would even think about buying any kind of crazy fucking shit like that nowadays. Yeah, it's just straight up fucking scary, and they can put that fentanyl shit in anything, and be like, you're getting all fucked up on it and shit, and you don't even realize what it is, you know, and and especially like coke or something like that, where you're going to be doing that shit, and it's got some of that in it instead, which I don't get, because fentanyl's like a painkiller. It's like a downer almost. I don't see how anybody could toot any of that shit and think that they're doing some speed. Doesn't make any sense to me. But hell, like we were talking about, shit, these kids and stuff like that, most of the time nowadays, they don't even want to smoke cigarettes or do anything like that. Reverse opium war, yeah. Now I have fucking smoked some opium, and it was good. It was like, almost like hash. It was like a wad of fucking potpourri, man. It fucking just smelled so good. And break some of that shit up and put it in with like some mean green and fucking smoke it. That was used to get some really good stuff at some of the Dead shows from this guy, that we always had way better tickets than him, and we let him come down and fucking deadhead and stand with us at our seats close to the stage, and he'd bust out the opium, and we'd sit there and smoke it while we were tripping on shrooms. Yeah, 100%. You know, it's not a casual thing anymore. I mean, you pretty much got to be hardcore addict, and you're taking your life into your own hands every single time that you fucking buy some shit from somebody and try to party down with it, for sure. He was 19 to 24, try stuff with his friends. Yeah, dude, pray your daughters don't do what you do. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's fucking scary. Luckily, my son never really got into that shit. I actually did, I don't know, couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I actually did some shrooms with my son. He asked me about them, and we tripped one night, and it was an amazing experience. But he after that, he was just like, "Well, I've done that," and he don't smoke, and he doesn't smoke any bud, do anything like that. He's a pretty good kid, but I would be really really afraid of him even getting into that kind of shit, or getting, my deal was just, I got kicked out when I was 16 years old, and I had to do what I had to do. And I networked, and, I knew where all the good shit was, and anybody that needed anything, they would call me, and I'd go get it for them. And my deal was just getting mixed in with the wrong crowd, but I had to do what I had to do to survive. You know what I mean? It's like, you go from a supportive family and good family life and growing up spoiled rotten, and then next thing you know, your parents are getting divorced and you're moving to a new city, and then a fucking year later, your mom fucking got everything you own in trash bags out in the front yard, and you got to go fucking fend for yourself. So that was kind of my experience and how I got into it. I just got dumped into it because I had to do the only thing that I could do to survive. And I still had two jobs. I had a job before school and a job after school. Still graduated, did all my shit, but that's how I fucking made money. Yeah, for real. In fact, the gal that lives next door to us, that's what she does. She's an anesthesiologist, and she works up at Center Point Hospital up here in Independence, Missouri. And yeah, we've had some conversations about that, and she's told me a lot about, all the stuff that she's had to go through and learn about that stuff, and, how it just takes just a tiny, tiny little bit of anything to, to do that shit up right, without fucking hurting somebody, and of course them guys, they got to worry about, they got to worry about fucking killing somebody and getting sued and all that kind of shit in this, fucking world that we live in, where, the motherfuckers, shit happens to them and they call the lawyer before they call the fucking ambulance. Oh man. Yeah, it was, dude, but I kind of look at it like this, Donuts. It's like, I wouldn't be the man that I am today if I didn't have to survive all that, if I didn't have to go through all that. It's given me the ability to read people. It's given me the ability to be able to talk to anybody. I don't know a stranger, and I'll strike up a conversation with anybody, just, to, maybe they're having a bad day and I'll just crack a joke or do something, or just talk to somebody about something, or compliment somebody's shoes, or say, hey, that's a badass fucking truck, man, or something like that. You know what I mean? And I kind of feel, now that I'm more on a spiritual journey, and, I've been doing my Bible study and going back to the hall and doing stuff, I've kind of felt like maybe God had me go through all that shit for a reason. You know what I mean? Because I feel like being able to testify and witness all those things that I've gone through and stuff, that maybe I can be a help to people that are struggling with that kind of stuff, and share with them my story and my experiences, and, maybe help them in some way. you know do I wish it would have been different? Yeah, I really do. I wish my parents would have stayed together. I wish my dad would have kept his dick in his fucking pants, and not fucked around on my mom's and fucking, broke up our fucking family, you know and, had a stable relationship and probably been able to go to college and, you know just have a better life path to follow. But at least, I made it through. I mean, I did what I did. And a lot of the things that I know now, I was forced to learn how to work on cars. I was, forced to learn how to do every fucking thing because I didn't have no money. And hell, I would, like, my buddies that had their little beater cars in high school and shit, their shit would break down, and I'd come over and fucking work on their cars for them and stuff to make a little extra scratch and save them some money and, shit like that. And, it's just kind of one of those deals. And I wasn't not going to fucking finish high school. You know what I mean? I mean, I was still, I was a fucking varsity letterman in track for the shot put and the hammer, and I was a fucking varsity football player, and I was on the student council and all that shit, and still had a job before school and after school, and just, I wasn't going to just lay down and give up. But I had a lot of good people that helped me along the way, and a lot of my friends' parents, that would, like, let me stay with them for a while till I could figure some shit out. And I had this one group of people, the Cabricks, and they were great people, and they had a swimming pool, and their mom was really cool. And I'd cook dinner for them, you know what I mean? And they fucking loved it. I lived with those guys for probably 6 or 7 months, and the moms would give me money, and I'd go buy groceries and shit, and I'd cook dinner every night for everybody, and she fucking loved it. And that was, kind of my journey into continuing cooking and getting better at being a cook and doing that kind of shit. So, those things that I had to go to have taught me a lot of the things that I'm really good at now. And, but I taught myself how to do it. My saving grace was my mom, who worked at the state penitentiary. So I knew for damn sure I wasn't going to go visit her at the job wearing a jumpsuit. Yeah, I can fucking see that, yo, for sure. Yeah. No, it says one of our local churches has a recovery program. We do security for them, and it's well, that's cool. And man, a lot of people need a lot of that. You know what I mean? And this is definitely, believe what you will, think what you want. I've always believed in God. I've always believed in a higher power. There's too many things that, just like the human body, for instance, and the balance of nature, and how we fucking breathe out the shit that the plants need, and they give us the shit that we need to breathe, and just the whole every fucking thing. You know what I mean? There's no fucking way, that just happened. You know what I mean? And I've used this analogy before, but it's like, let's take a bunch of gold and brass and stainless steel and shit like that and throw it in a pile and let it sit for 1,000,000 years. And then all of a sudden it just turns into a fucking Rolex, I mean, the shit don't happen. You know what I mean? And we were created, and we were created for a purpose, and yeah, man, thank you. It just for me, it is what it is. And especially with my sobriety journey, and trying to get through the things that I'm getting through, and survive. Prayer has been a great tool for me. And one of the things that I kind of realized, and I do this, is like, prayer doesn't have to be this formal thing, where you're bowing your head and, oh God, this and blah, 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 yada, 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 amen. You know, like after I got almost in that wreck this week, it was like Jesus was sitting in the fucking passenger seat next to me, and I was just talking to him. And I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you for being there for me. Oh my God, please direct that fucking woman to pay better fucking attention so she don't kill somebody. You know what I mean? And I just, or I'll be driving around and shit like the, crazy, how many like road rage things are there and shit where people just get so fucking pissed off. And it's like, I see that a lot. And it's like a lot of the times people aren't really trying to do that. They're not doing shit like that because they're trying to piss you off, because they're trying to fuck with you. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of times that I got to pray about it, and it's like, give me some patience and give me some understanding, because that person didn't mean to do that to me, but they did. And, don't let me take it the wrong way, and don't let me, you know what I mean? So it just I just talk to him. It's just an open conversation. I mean, he's with you all the time. He knows what you do, fucking, he knows what you think, you know. He's been there with you your whole life, and he's there to guide you if you just want to reach out to him, and you know, and ask for his help, you know. And another thing with that too, I look at it like this: I do a hell of a lot more thinking than I do asking for shit. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people, their prayer seems to be focused around, oh, I need this, or do that for me, or whatever, And for me, it's more like, hey, thanks for this and thanks for that, because I'm appreciative of it, and I can feel that the reason why this has happened, or whatever, is because you're there and you're watching out for me. You know what I mean? And just thank you, not, and I've never been one of these fucking people that's like, well, if you fucking do this for me, I'm gonna give up drinking. You don't make no fucking deals with God, people. You know what I mean? you know, there's no fucking game show. Like, give it for God. What are you going to give up so that God will make sure that you get that box of Opus societies before anybody else. You know. Oh yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah. You know, it just that's the way it's supposed to be, and I think that's the way he wants it. You know, that's the way he wants us to be. Is like that, and just constantly keep him in your in your mind, in your thoughts, that he is present and that he is there with you. You know. Young says the other night I caught myself praying and didn't realize I was praying at first, but I had to ask myself, who am I talking to? Yeah, it's an open conversation, you know. Yeah, amen, Ron. You know, that's exactly what it is, you know. And you know, and it's that it has to be that way with other people too. You know, like I said, it's like, you know, I don't know a stranger. You know what I mean? I'm always trying to talk to people. You know, it's about sharing the love, and that's what he preached, and that's what he taught to us, was to love one another. You know what I mean? And not for any reason or because you want something or whatever, but just because they're a fellow human being. And you know, you never know when a kind word can just make somebody's day, or a gesture, or you know, just like, you know, going out and throwing down a sleeping bag so a cop don't have to fucking shoot somebody laying in the snow. You know what I mean? You just do things for people because that's what we're supposed to do, you know, for real. But I was pretty lucky this week, so that was good. And we got Libby all moved in, and thank God they hooked us up with the good Wi-Fi at her place because she streams everything, and they said that most of the people there just have like antennas and shit, and they don't stream nothing. So we got her all settled in, and then, you know, of course, she was like, I'm out of Three Musketeers," so we had to go run and get her a bag of Three Musketeers and get her all set. And then I've got to spend, you know, at least the whole day tomorrow. I've got a you know, I got a bunch of stuff in her room that I'm going to take to one of the dumpsters at our houses that we're rehabbing, and get rid of some shit and shampoo carpets and do all that stuff. But then I'm going to be able to, um, you know, be able to actually set this room up. And I want to have some cool background shit, you know, like I've always got my green screen stuff, which I love, you know, it's pretty fucking cool. But like a lot of times when I'm showing shit off, if it's got like blue or green in it, it looks kind of funky. And it's weird, like when I blow smoke, it's like it disappears once it gets out past my head and shit like that. So I'm, you know, looking forward to spending some time getting this room set up, and, you know, having some more room for, you know, some of my boxes and shit, you know. I bought a lot of fucking Opus, and I got a nice fucking Opus box collection that I want to be able to display and actually have my lights set up all the time, and just be able to sit down and start streaming, or sit down and start doing a show, and something for some content, you know. Exactly. You know, the golden rule: treat others how you want to be treated, you know. And that's what you got to do, pretty much, you know. Well, my other light just died. Let me readjust this here. All right, that's a little bright, but see if I can get that. There we go. That's better. Um, but yeah, and I'm usually trying to crack jokes with people, you know, see something or have experienced something that somebody's going through, and then make a comment about it or something, and it like draws you closer together, you know. And they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" You know what I mean? I love kind of, you know, shocking people like that, and that kind of thing. Man, so getting into this final third of this Opus 25th, you know, 2 hours and 20 minutes into it. Oh my God. If you guys get a chance to buy one of these, and they're still out there. In fact, I've been seeing a lot of Opus drops all over the fucking place. You know, it's just kind of that time of year where a lot of the Opus stuff is coming out. A lot of the PCA stuff's coming out. But if you get a chance to get one of those 25th El Tributos, highly recommend you just say fuck it and spend the money and get one or two or 10 or whatever you can or can't afford. Because it's kind of like, you know, shit. Yeah, I think per stick on these on the box, I think they were still like 40 something a piece, you know, box price. But, you know, I still got, hell, I still probably got at least another half an hour, you know, or more in this one stogie. So it's like you spend $50 on one good stick that lasts you the length of what 3 average cigars would smoke, and you're probably actually spending less, you know. My wife and I were watching the movie Little Brother on Netflix. I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out, man. John Cena. Huh. I'll definitely have to check that out, man. There have been a lot of good shows on lately. I've been getting back into the, oh, what is it? The fucking the HBO. God damn it! Not the House of the Dragon, not the other one. And then I guess they got like a prequel to the Game of Thrones, something about the night of the Seven Kingdoms or something. Just started watching that, and you know, of course, I've been watching, you know, the fucking the Yellowstone spinoffs, the Marshalls, and the Dutton Ranch. Dutton Ranch has been really good. I've been enjoying that. That's a great fucking show. But what I'm really looking forward to coming up is season 3 of Silo on Apple is coming out, and that's a dynamite fucking show. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it or if you got Apple, but Silo is good. Lioness, the 3rd season of that is coming up. There's a lot of good TV coming out, and been watching a ton of good stuff. Been kind of nice because I got my TV set up in there, and I can, you know, actually throw a show or movie on and actually smoke a cigar while I'm watching it. And you know, a lot of it's shit that my wife doesn't want to watch. You know, she likes watching stuff like, you know, This Is Us and stuff like that, which that's actually a really good show. I don't know if you guys have ever watched This Is Us, but that's a great fucking series, you know. The dad in that is just, you know, like the best dad ever, you know. And it's a good story. Yeah, man. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on Apple, man. But for sure, definitely check out Lioness and check out Silo. That's a couple of my favorites on Apple. And yeah, it is. It really is, man. Now I started watching that last season of Witcher, and since they changed the main character and stuff, I didn't really like it as much. I need to just kind of sit down and get over that, you know, that it's a new actor and give it a chance, because I loved the first, few seasons of that. It was really, really good. Snooze fest. Yeah. Well, I find myself when I'm doing that shit, I'm pulling my phone out or my iPad and I'm hunting for cigars. Whenever my wife puts a show on that I think is shit and I don't want to fucking watch it, I'll do some cigar shopping, or pull up my fucking cigar aficionado and just kind of check some shit out. And then sometimes I might just whip out some fucking mahjong or something and just sit there and fucking click tiles while she's watching her show. At least we're, spending time together and doing that kind of shit. Yeah. I mean, they can't all be shit. My wife's got pretty good taste in shows for the most part. And, we've enjoyed a lot of good series. And I hate, I mean, I grew up in the era where no matter what show you were watching, you always had to wait till next week for the next episode. There was no binging, there was no binge watching shit back in the day. It came out on network and you watched it and you had to wait till next week. But at least back then they used to like give you previews of what the next week was going to be. And a lot of these streaming shows and series, they don't do that now. So it's like you don't even know what the hell's coming down the pipe, for next week. And on a lot of there's some shows that it's just like I have to watch it. I got to stay up with it because I know people are going to talk about it and they're going to fucking ruin it for me. You know what I mean? So I'll just go ahead and watch it week to week. And but if it's something that I haven't seen or I haven't watched, um, you know, uh, I'll just sit down and binge it. I'll wait till the whole thing comes out and then I'll just binge watch it all. Just take a fucking Saturday and just slam it out, just do a whole fucking season, a whole day, get a fucking brisket or some fucking ribs on the fucking smoker and just take my time and jam out with it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Lioness is fucking for real. It's a good fucking show. Just kind of a new spin on it and shit, and something that's believable and just some badass fucking hardcore fucking female soldiers and just a neat team and a neat way that they do everything. And fuck, it's got like Morgan Freeman in it and shit, and it's a good fucking show for sure. Yeah, me too. You know, season 3 is going to be epic. I think. The first two were great. And I liked how in the second season they kind of brought the chick from the first season in to be like the mentor for the new one, even though she really didn't want to. She'd been out there kicking ass and taking names and doing everything. That was really pretty sweet. Well, it is, and I mean, that's kind of the way it always was, it was like Wednesday nights is this and Thursday nights is that. And, when you didn't have all these streaming services, and you had like, ABC, NBC, CBS, the main broadcasting channels. And, each one had a badass show that came on like one night a week. So at least 3 nights of the week, you had something to look forward to. It's like, okay, tonight I can chill, I can, eat something while I'm doing this or cook me up some fucking popcorn and get some fucking junior mints and sit back and fucking watch some TV or whatever. And, yeah, it did give you something to look forward to. And it kind of made your week go by a little bit quicker too. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Yeah, I like to do that a lot too. Just let the shit roll and just fucking just sit down and watch it all, because it's you, especially a show that you're gonna like, you really love it, and it's like, man, I don't want to wait for a fucking week to see what happens, when I can just knock it all out, And I tell you what, man, my hat's off to fucking you know, Taylor Sheridan and all of the shows and everything that he's come up with and his success. That guy, oh my God. I mean, there isn't anything of his that I have watched that hasn't just been totally fucking badass, Like, you know, I think, and I just went back a couple weeks ago and went back through and watched the first 2 seasons of Landman again. I fucking love Landman. That fucking show is just fucking comical and just fun to watch. It's just fucking insane how brutally honest and shit that Billy Bob is, and he plays a great character on that show for sure. And I've heard that they're coming out with 1944, which is the next in the prequels to Yellowstone. It's Dutton family. It's the next one, so I think that'll be like John Dutton's father, and in that generation, who actually, I didn't even realize this until I went back and watched, because I've watched Yellowstone probably 5 times. And I think it wasn't until the third watch through that I realized that his father was Dabney Coleman, you know, and I love Dabney Coleman, fucking, War Games and, all the great fucking movies that he was in over the years, but I didn't even because he looked so fucking old, you almost couldn't recognize him, but it was Dabney Coleman, And another show that I've binged a couple times is just fucking fabulous is the Queen's Gambit. The one about the chick that plays chess. Fuck, that's a good show. You know what I mean? And that gal is so fucking. She's fucking smoking ass hot. You know what I mean? For a tall, skinny chick, she's pretty fucking sexy. You know what I mean? I love that, and it just. I used to play chess as a kid, with my dad and my grandpa, and but it was always just like, okay, these guys move this the way, I never got taught like the strategy of it, and never really realized, how in depth it is, and the this opening and the that opening, and the, just how deep, the layers go on actually playing that game. It's pretty intense. But so, has anybody got any big plans for the weekend? You guys cooking anything? You got, hopefully you don't have to spend a bunch of time out in the heat doing yard work and shit like that. Like I said, I'm just kind of looking forward to smoking a few stogies and getting my plans set and getting some stuff moved around and cleaning some carpet and going out and enjoying driving Dirt Vader. I'll tell you what, man, since I put those fucking new Michelins on there with those wheels, that some bitch rolls like a fucking Cadillac, man. I mean, it's what old Bill Cosby used to call putting in a cloud. Do you remember that? You put Jello inside of some Cool Whip and shit. That fucking thing rolls like putting in a cloud now. I love it. And get those fucking off-road tires off of there, and it's not making all that fucking noise and shit like it was. And man, it's just like a new truck. That's you got to spend a shit ton of money to put new tires on your vehicle, man. But when you do, you're always glad that you do it. You know what I mean? Because it just totally changes the ride, totally changes how it handles and how it brakes and everything. I love it. And I need to get my boat cleaned out because we've had some really crazy storms. In fact, I was just talking to my brother today. My brother lives down in Wichita, Kansas, and they had, I guess yesterday, they had the biggest downpour rain storm, thunderstorm roll through Wichita that they've had in over 100 years. He sent me pictures of cars that were going down streets that were like half, like buried in water up to to the logos of the cars and shit, just insane. Yeah, I don't know, you know. Well, that's good. Yeah, we got kind of a mild weekend coming, and then next week the heat's supposed to crank up. It's supposed to be muggy and humid and be up in the 90s next week. So I want to try and get a bunch of shit done so I can just chill out in the AC. And another thing my brother told me today, I did not know this. So the governor of Kansas just passed a law that goes into effect on July 1st, and it is outlawing like license plate frames, certain frames, and like those covers, where people, they got like a smoked plexiglass cover over their shit. And I guess, they say that it's for officer safety is what he was saying. But I'm like, no, motherfucker, that's because the flock cameras can't fucking see them, and they can't track where the fuck you're going and what you're doing. You know what I mean? And they, but they said, even if you don't have that, if you have, and just about every car in the world comes out of a dealership with a fucking license plate frame on it. And, with the dealer's name or whatever, or, like I've got like a Chiefs Super Bowl one and this, that, and another. But they said if it covers up any part of the state name or the date and the registration sticker or any of that kind of shit, that they will give you a ticket. Now, they said you got like a 6-month grace period. The officers are just going to give you a verbal warning. But they said that once that shit transpires and everything goes through, and even people from out of state, if you roll through Kansas and you've got one of those license plate covers, or an officer comes up behind you and can't read, what month your shit expires or whatever the fuck, that they will give you a ticket to the tune of $2,500 or 30 days in jail. Now, how fucked up is that? You know what I'm saying? That's a little fucking steep for, and I mean, shit, just about everybody fucking, has a fucking, I got a license plate protector on my shit, because if I don't, when I go through the car wash, those brushes hit my fucking license plate and bend the shit out of it. You know what I mean? And I heard that today and I was like, wow, that's just taking it a little bit too far, I think. It's like, Kansas, if you guys are hurting that bad for fucking money, you should have fucking legalized marijuana. You know what I'm saying? It's like, shit. Nice. That's like perfect sitting outside, smoking on stogies all day, chilling, cooking something. That's great, man. You got a good weekend coming if that's all it's going to be over there, for sure. Right on. New floodlights on the house. Missouri has been like that. I have aftermarket rear view cameras. Yeah, because like it's got that little camera thing on the top, and you know that's going to cover up where it says Missouri on it. So that would fuck your shit, you know. Virginia's trying to get rid of your. Oh no shit, really? So they're trying to pull a fucking Australia or England on your ass? I don't see that going over very well. That's going to stir up some big time shit. You know what I mean? I mean, fuck, number one and number two amendments is the biggest fucking things that allow Americans to be who Americans are. You know what I mean? And man, you want to start fucking with that shit, that's going to seriously stir up a fucking shitstorm, you know? Right on. Yeah, I think I will too. You know, I get all this other shit done. Sunday, I'm going to do a little bit more work on the boat. I've just about got everything done that I need to do. Had some mice get into my carpet shit over the winter and chew up some of my carpet I got to replace and get some stuff going. But man, the catfish are biting like fucking crazy, and get out on the fucking boat and pieces of carpet fluff are flying up. Fucking just making my Agent Orange act up like a motherfucker, you know? Nice. Yeah, those are pretty fucking good. And they're, those little packs that they come in, those little bundles, those are pretty great, you know, for real. Man. The donut says, as of right now, a judge has stopped it from the July 1st date. The state is getting, well, okay. Well, I bet they are. I'm sure the fucking NRA is hugely involved with that and throwing some of their fucking legal power behind that, you know. I mean, that's just, that's some straight up fucking bullshit right there, Ray. You know what I mean? Full show. I mean, I love my guns, you know. I tell you what, I've got most of my guns, thank God, are not papered, you know. But the ones that they are, I keep them in a separate place. And somebody wants to come after my shit that they know that I have, so be it. Here you go. I'm not gonna fucking I'm not gonna go to fucking jail over this shit if they decide that that's what they're gonna fucking do. But you ain't getting them all, motherfucker. Ain't no fucking way, you know. Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, so that was a great show, that Marvin put on this week. He was like, make cigars great again. And, we all sat around and, constructed this society that's based around cigars, and came up with all these rules and all this shit. I think he said like, all cigars had to be approved by a Kellner, and that, is going to have like a secret service for cigars. It was called the Knights of the Leaf. And, I brought up like, having tax incentives for people that build cigar lounges and humidors in their home, like they do for like if you get solar or shit like that, or buy a new fucking furnace, Wow. So it's getting really fucking serious then, you know. That's fucking scary shit, dude. That fucking worries me, you know. Well, yeah, you know. Yeah, Guns is the minister of propaganda, you know. I'm the vice president, you know. And but yeah, that was a fun show. If you guys get a chance to go back and watch Marvin's Tuesday night thing, that was fucking fun. We had a really really good time with all that shit for sure. Yeah, man. In fact, the very next day, you know, after that wreck shit fucking happened, and I was waiting on the dude to put the fucking tires on my wheels, I went over to Cassie's joint, and there was a fucking dude sitting in there on a laptop, was sipping on a Coke, wasn't even fucking smoking anything, and he had fucking flip flops on. And I was just like, motherfucker, you know, that was fucking crazy, dude. Yeah. Yeah, Donuts, if you get a chance, man, definitely go back and rewatch that show from Tuesday. You will get a kick out of it. I mean, we all just had an absolute fucking blast, you know. You know, and it was shit like you know, that cigar manufacturers have to disclose where all their tobaccos come from, you know, so that you can kind of see that everybody's using the same tobaccos and this, that, and another, and that you know, cigar manufacturers have to limit their blends to like 6 so that you're making sure that they're giving you the best of what they have. You know, it's like, you know, a lot of them are like that. Like Chief, he's got good cigars. He's only got 2 blends. But man, you look at somebody like, I'll tell you who's like crazy with the shit is like fucking Rocky Patel. Jesus, man. Rocky Patel has about 800 fucking different blends of cigars. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I didn't even realize it until I started going around and shopping in different stores. And I kept seeing all these different Rocky Patels that I'd never seen before. And I'm like, how many fucking blends of cigars do you fucking have, dude? God, that was crazy. Oh, no shit. See, I'm the exact opposite, you know. If it's my birthday and I'm going to go walk into a lounge, I'm going to have a shitload of sticks. I'm going to start passing out some fucking opuses, or I'm going to start passing out some fucking Dunbartons, or, you know what I mean? I'm going to be sharing cigars with people to celebrate my birthday with me, not the other fucking way around. Yeah, that's fucking crazy shit right there. Man, that's a great analogy, Oz. Yeah, the Walmart of fucking cigars. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, I've tried a few of them, and my palate, really the only my favorite Rocky Patel was that Year of the Snake that he came out with a couple of years ago, and that's a delicious cigar. But that's like a $38 fucking dollar cigar, you know. And I've had like the Emerald, and I've had, you know, the white label, and whatever the fuck else he's got. I've tried some of that stuff, and I just really didn't dig it. And a lot of them tasted exactly the fucking same. You know what I mean? It was the same cigar, different fucking wrapper. You know. But that Year of the Snake was really good, and I did get a couple of the new Year of the Horses that he just came out with. And I will say that Rocky Patel 30th anniversary that he just came out with last year is good. But those are all the high end, you know. Those are all his really expensive fucking cigars, you know. And you know, it's like, you know, why don't you, you know, not put out 1,800 fucking blends and maybe narrow it down to like 10, you know, and use some of them finer tobaccos and some of that, and just quit putting out all this fucking crap, you know. I mean, you know, Jesus, it'd take you almost fucking 6 months to go through the entire profile of offerings that he has, you know what I mean? Okay, I do have a Decenio, and I have not tried it, so I will definitely. Hell, I might smoke that this weekend, Guns. It's been sitting in my humidor for a minute. There you go. Yeah, like you said, he's probably just a lounge lizard. He's probably just in there mooching and just, feeding off the generosity of the fucking people that are in the lounge. You know what I mean? Because most of us are generous and most of us share sticks and, that kind of thing. And, but I always, when I go to a lounge and I know I'm going to be there, and I give cigars to the guys that work in the humidors and build those relationships with those guys, and giving them like, you know, Lampert Limitadas and fucking, Ferriotego Elegancias. And I gave one of the managers up at Outlaw, I gave him one of the fucking Lampert Limitada 2022 Salamones. And I've given Cubans to guys, and, but and some of the definition like anillos and stuff, just try this, try that, and just sharing stuff with those guys. And then but it works out good because it's always like, they'll call me, they know the kind of shit that I like and the shit that I want, and be like, hey bro, we just got these in, you want me to hold back a couple of them for you? And I'm like, well, yeah, thank you. And then when I go up there to pick them up, I'll bring them a stick. Or one of the guys, Nick, that works up at fucking Outlaw, he's a huge pipe smoker. And I got fuck tons of pipe tobacco. I bought a couple pipes and got into that, and it really wasn't my thing. So I'll take him a tin of fucking pipe tobacco, and here you go. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mr. Cash, they do. CAO has a lot of stuff. Pretty much my favorite CAO stuff is just the Brasilia box press, the Amazon Basin. Um, I've tried that new 250th that they just come out with. It's okay. But I've tried like what is it, that PX3 or whatever. Did not like that cigar. It just didn't suit my palate very well at all. Yeah, yeah. One of those things you just can't unsee. Or like that fucked up song that you hear first thing in the morning when you're driving into work, and then it's in your head all fucking day and you wish you never fucking heard it. Exactly. Yeah, Perdomo does put out a bunch of stuff, you know, and it's pretty. Most of theirs are pretty good, you know. I will say there's a few of them that I've had that I haven't liked, but I really like a lot of the new Legacy line, and I'm really looking forward to trying that Father and Son that Chief sent me. I may end up trying to have to get some of those. And I actually met Nick Perdomo up at Outlaw and bought a box of cigars, Legacies, from him when they came out, and he's autographed it for me and all that kind of shit. So I do like some of their stuff for sure. Oh, absolutely. Um, I love the Generoso. I love the Elegancia too. Those two cigars are just fucking dynamite. Um, Michael Herklotz is doing some really, really good thing. And, even with like his timeless lines and some of the other lines that he carries, Ferio Tego's got some great cigars, but that Generoso is really rich. It's a rich tasting cigar. Yeah, I didn't dig it either. You know what I mean? And I even tried it in a couple of different Vitolas, and it didn't really change anything for me. Well, Guns, have you tried the CAO Brasilia box press? Because that's the only one that I liked. I've tried every Vitola in that Brasilia, and the Brasilia box press is the only one that I like. You know, I don't know why, but it just made a huge difference in the way that it tasted and the way that it smoked. And, you know, I bought a box of those last year sometime and fucking smoked them all, you know. Yeah, I've had some Camachos, and I haven't really found any of those that wowed me. You know, I've had maybe 3 of them, and none of them impressed me enough to buy any more. I'll say that. You know, awesome, bro. That's cool. But yeah, I love that cigar. You know, in fact, one of the things that I love about his stuff, like the very first box of Ferio Tegos I bought was the 24 Elegancia. And dude, that box is actually a humidor. You know what I mean? It's got like a nice little fucking shelf in it that you can put some Bovita packs in underneath of it. And it comes in like a humidor box with a nice fucking, you know, like velvet bag and everything. I mean, the packaging and everything that he does is really, really good. And like I said, I'm working with him to try and get him on the show. We've been emailing back and forth, and hopefully sometime in the next month or something. And it may not be Friday, because I was just like, dude, your schedule is way fucking busier than mine. And just any time that you have some time to be on and come talk to me and come talk to the people, you know, about your cigars and your journey and all that kind of stuff. You know, I'll make it happen. And, you know, as soon as we get that set up, I'll be putting that out, you know, probably couple 3 weeks ahead of time, you know, and really promote it and try to get a bunch of people in there. But I would imagine it would be a hell of a great fucking show, because I love his cigars for sure. Yeah. And, you know, the thing with Perdomo too is, I mean, they're well constructed. They're, you know, I mean, hell, I think Perdomo draw test every fucking single cigar. You know what I mean? They really put a lot of work and effort into to making it. So box press is just, you know, it's kind of like the little rectangular looking ones. You know, they're smashed flat. And you know, and the box press, the CAO Brasilia, it's like a little robusto almost, but it's a box press Vitola, and I really like it. Um, you know, try one if you can find a CAO Brasilia box press gun. Just get one and try it, and see if that changes your mind. Because, like I said, I've smoked all the Vitolas of those, and that's the only one that I really like. You know. Yeah, I had to get a box after I tried, you know, the first couple of those. You know, they've just got a really unique flavor and just real creamy smoke, just lots of smoke, but it's, you know, and it doesn't linger on your palate for like a really long time, you know, and you can smoke it, and then it just you know, it comes right off. You know, it doesn't linger and leave a funky aftertaste and shit. They're just super smooth cigars, and they transition really well. I mean, you can really see the changes of the flavor profile as you smoke through it. They're just fucking dynamite, man. Heading to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina in about a month for vacay. Well, that's cool. I'm sure you need it. Get away from the insanity a little bit. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, and I mean that's one of the great things about, you know, traveling. And, you know, like I'm always putting out my Fogie be traveling videos and shit, and sharing different cigar shops and lounges and humidors and stuff. And and it just, kind of gives you something cool to do. Like I said, I used to hit the record shops all the time when I travel, but now I really look forward to going into different cigar joints and just seeing what's available. And a lot of fucking cigar joints have really good house blend stuff. You know what I mean? That's got a really good price point, and they smoke well and they taste good, and you can only get that from them. You like the torpedo? Right on. It's it's a different flavor. I like it. It's kind of dark. Um, but it's pretty smooth. And the French exhale on the Brasilia is really delicious. Pick up. I can pick up about 17 notes on that motherfucker. You know what I mean? For sure, man. I was right. Look at this. So I'm almost nubbing this bitch. I've been smoking this motherfucker for 3 fucking hours now, gang. You know what I'm saying? Um, I could have smoked 3 other cigars by now that would have cost me more than this one did, and this has just been amazing. Mulligan's. Holtz has a Mulligan cigar that was surprisingly good. You got it in the Cigar of the Month Club. They do have a good Cigar of the Month Club. I mean, hell, when I first got into smoking cigars, I got into their club just because they were like, one of the main YouTube channels that I like to watch when I was starting my journey. And I got into their club. Hell, they sent me a opus. They always put some decent bangers in there. And I didn't realize how like I didn't realize that fucking Holtz owns Ashton and shit like that. You know what I mean? They're a lot of these brands and shit that they're pushing and stuff, it's their cigars. I didn't even know that. Yeah. So when are you leaving on your trip, Donuts? You said in about a month. You get the Holtz and the Pravada Cubs. Right on. Clubs. Yeah, Fuente Añejo, that's a great stick, you know. The extra Añejo is really good too. I really like that cigar. That's some bitch. You better have something cold to drink if you're, or like, like a good adult beverage. That some bitch is strong. Less than a month. Well, I know you got my email because we've talked back and forth. You sent me some emails. So, um, I got to look back through them. I don't think you've ever sent me your address, Donuts. Why don't you email me your address and I'll throw you a little cigar bomb together to take on your trip with you. And just my appreciation for your service and the peril that you go through to protect your local community and everything. I'm going to throw a really nice opus in there for you to take on your trip with you. So get with me and get me your address, and I'll get you a cigar bomb out in the mail next week, and then you can let them sit in your humi and acclimate. Of course, everything I got's going to be aged and ready to smoke. You just need to let them kind of settle down from the mail. But yeah, just get with me, buddy, and I'll hook you up with some good sticks. I'll send you one of those Dunbarton fiddleheads and, um, probably like a Brulee Blue or a Salida Red, and I'll throw some good stuff in there for you to take with you. And then, then you can save up all your money to buy some stuff while you're out on the road. Sometimes I wish I'd double the club subscriptions. Yeah. Yeah. Some of them are really good, but it's like a lot of, I got off the Holtz one because, they were sending me shit that I just didn't want, and, I don't know. Like I said, I still just like to go to the stores and try to, just find shit there and try. I mean, that's how I got into Definition cigars. Um, Outlaw has got a great selection. In fact, I got all the new PCA stuff from them, and that a Neo. In fact, Donuts, I'll send you one of those Aneos too. I love that cigar. I've smoked a lot of them. That's a big long box press, and that's a delicious fucking cigar. You will definitely like that. And it's got the coolest fucking band on it. It's this black and gold X band. In fact, I wanted to take one of those bands to a jeweler and have him make me a ring that looks like that fucking cigar band. It's so fucking cool, Well, you're welcome. I've been appreciate your support, and always glad when you get a chance to come hang out with us and do everything. And I'll be more than happy to send you some good sticks for your vacation, man. Just, my appreciation of you supporting the channel and you doing what you do and putting your life on the line for fellow Americans every fucking day. You know what I mean? It's the least I can fucking do. Club of the month. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was kind of my thing too, Young, as I was just getting into it. And, I love watching Maz and Foch and watching their shit, for a while. It just got to the point where it's so fucking repetitious, and everything they do now is just the exact same shit. And I don't watch them like I used to. But they put me on to a lot of good cigars and a lot of good, like scotches and shit at the time when I was drinking. And, but yeah, I got out of it fairly quickly because I just started buying shit left and right, and, you know, I would say probably from the time that I started smoking cigars in October of 2024 until now, I've bought well over 1,000 cigars, for sure. And I've probably smoked at least 300 different cigars in that time, in a couple of years. But, oh, no shit. So Gunn says that Saka has a Dunbarton gold ring. Oh, man. Now, I would love that. Now, he's got that Sober Mesa band is pretty. That would make an awesome fucking ring, too. That Sober Mesa band that he has. That, in fact, that first Brulee Blue that Michaela from La Cultura turned me on to, she just showed me that cigar, and I looked at that band, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I got to try that. That looks fucking awesome, Yeah, even some of their old stuff. I mean, I will say this for them. Of course, they got the fucking money to do it. They've got the best production value, but man, they're fucking shooting their shows, with like red cameras and shit. They've got thousands and thousands of dollars in camera equipment and lighting, and actually have a production crew that does all that shit for them, and they don't have to fuck with none of that stuff. You know what I mean? Whereas like somebody like me, I'm doing all this shit by myself. You know what I mean? Every bit of it, all of the fucking everything that I put out on my fucking shows, all the filming, all the editing, all of it. I got to do it, so it requires a lot of my time. Whereas those guys, they can just grab some fucking sticks out of the fucking Humi and a bottle and go sit down, and all they got to do is talk and smoke. They don't have to do anything else, But they do get a little repetitious, especially because they're sellers and they're pushing what they want to move, and cigars that they own, and it's a lot of the same stuff every time, and they're not pushing a lot of the craft brands. I've never seen them smoke a Ferio Tego. I've never seen them smoke a Definition. I've never, uh, and yeah, they smoke some Fuentes and some Opuses here and there, but most of it's like La Aromas and Ashtons and that kind of shit. My Father's and stuff like that. Is the stuff that just seems like they just continue to smoke on a regular basis. Uh-oh, watch out. I'm getting ready to nub this sumbitch, man. I had to grab the old hemostats. This actually works pretty good, man. Just clip her on there and you can just nub that sumbitch. But 3-hour cigar, we're like 3 hours and 11 minutes into the show. I appreciate y'all coming and hanging with me. It's become a fun Friday night, and thank you, Marvin, for opening up your spot. And in fact, I basically asked his permission. I was like, hey, if you're going to move to Sundays, you care if I jump in and take your Friday nights? And he was like, no, man, go for it, And I was really, really glad that he did. I didn't know how long he was going to be on doing Sundays or whatever. And, I didn't want to start getting my thing going on the reggae on Friday nights and then have him come back and then there'd be a conflict between shows, because I want to watch his show. I love Marvin's stuff and I love hanging out, with him and all the Rise and Grind guys, Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I just heard the email come through. So, yep, I will definitely get you some stuff rounded up and send you a nice cigar bomb for your vacation, brother, for sure. Yeah, it is, isn't it, Ryan? I mean, I like it. After a long week, everybody's tired. Everybody needs a cigar. I mean, you never know. Some fucking crazy bitch might fucking be watching her fucking phone and damn near kill your ass. And then you got to go spend $2,000 on fucking new tires and wheels for your truck. Who knows? Friday night is always a good night for me, and I really like this crowd of people. The regulars, you guys that come in every week and hang out with me, and we always have a good time, and I try to keep it fresh and just keep it more of an open conversation kind of thing, and just enjoy some stuff, and talk about life and talk about just the things, the daily bullshit that we all got to go through, and how this always seems to make it better some way. Right on. 200 miles, man. I you should have brought me up some fucking should have brought me up some fucking caliper pins and bolts, Ron, and I'd have hooked you up with some stogies, and you could have hung out with me a little bit, man. I need some of that personal parts delivery action, brother, for sure. Right on. Young, thanks, man. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I'm just about ready to wind this down. I'm gonna finish nubbing this and bullshit for a little bit longer. But have a great weekend. And like I said, I texted you with a picture of the shipping label, so you'll have your tracking number for your Chief of the Leaf cigar bomb. And I hope you enjoy it. And like I said, I look forward to some of the stuff that you got coming, and it'll definitely be good to smoke some of the same cigars together. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. That's exactly what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I may be so busy of a weekend that I don't get to smoke. I'm busy doing stuff with the wife, or and it's like it's hard for me. Like if I'm like building shit on my deck or working on shit on the house, it's hard for me to like light up a cigar because I feel like I'm wasting it, and a lot of times I don't smoke it like I should because I'm not allotting that time, and I'm trying to smoke and work and do everything. And, maybe the burn gets all fucked up or something. So, being able to come in and sit down on a Friday and at least have a good cigar and chill out and everything, it usually, ends my week well and starts my weekend off good. So, thanks for saying that. Yeah, Ron. You need to plan a trip up here, brother, soon. I know you're working a lot, but you're only 2 hours away from me, man. 2.5 at best. And like I said, Mama's getting ready to set up the guest room upstairs and shit, and you got a place to stay, and fucking TV and goddamn adjustable bed and, whatever the fuck. Just come on up and, I'll cook all the food and I'll feed. It's just going to cost you a tank of gas. And then, you get up here, Ron, and I'll let you fucking peruse the Humies and you can pick out any fucking cigar I got and we'll sit down and smoke, man. That'll be a good time, brother. For sure. In fact, we might even have to bust out a couple Cubans and enjoy that. I haven't smoked a Cuban in a while because I think I've only got, I don't know, maybe 6 left or something. And those definitely, I'm kind of saving those for a special occasion for sure. And but you coming up here would definitely be a good reason to bust some of those out and enjoy them together. Yeah. Mr. Cash says I'd pay for a Fogie of the Month club where I could come up and smoke your opuses. Yeah, and eat some good barbecue. Hell yeah, man. Like a monthly subscription. You come up once a month and, smoke on some good stuff and we'll eat some good food and jam on some good tunes, get some fucking fire up the fucking Death Star system and fucking jam on some fucking Funkadelic or some fucking, some old Commodores or, some good jazz. That would be fucking awesome. Donut says he likes to allocate some time to smoke and relax. I think this past Father's Day was the best one for me. Good cigar and a good steak. Yeah. You got to have some good food in your belly before you start smoking some shit. And I don't know. I haven't, I've heard a lot of people talk about, getting sick or the nicotine fucks with them. And, maybe it's because I'm a cigarette smoker and I ingest a lot of nicotine anyway. But I haven't had a cigar get me, green behind the gills. You know what I mean? I just haven't. And sometimes I'll smoke on an empty stomach, and maybe it's because I had that gastric bypass surgery, and I'm not affected by that or whatever. I don't know, but fortunately, I haven't gotten that situation where a cigar's made me feel sickly. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but I would imagine it would fucking suck, you know. But I do always try to eat something good, and put something in my stomach before and then, coffee, since I've quit drinking and drinking a lot more coffee and a lot of good coffee, it just seems like, man, that cleans my palate and just keeps everything fresh, and every puff is good, and get to retaste everything all over again. And they really, really complement one another, man. I really love pairing my cigars with good coffee. Young says he's gotten sick a couple times. Not too bad, but I always have something to remedy it nearby. Right on. Was a heavy cigarette smoker for years, and now you dip. Yeah, I can't dip for sure. And I've even tried like the little Zen pouches and stuff. And that is directly reflective of that fucking bypass surgery, because, no matter what, you're going to swallow some saliva that has that chew in it or has that nicotine in it or whatever. And that just going straight down into my small intestine, I can't do it, man. If I do, I'm going to dropping syndrome mode all fucking day. And it's just like, holy shit, I can't fucking do it. I vaped for a while when I started working at Lake City on the night shift and was working 12 hours making bullets. And that was fucked up because, of course, there's all those explosives around and shit. And they had a smoke shack out behind building 1. And everybody that wanted to smoke or vape had to go run out there. And you only got a 10. So working 12 fucking hours, we got 2 10-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch in 12-hour shift. And so it takes you about 3 or 4 minutes to get down and back to the smoke shack. So you're like drilling a couple cigarettes or you're hitting the fuck out of the vape. And then you got to get back. And, but it was just like, I was just like, man, I'm kidding myself, I'll just stick to my Marlboros, Gun says it's the cigarettes. He said doesn't get queasy from any cigars either. It's on a Zep bound empty stomach is a every day. Right on. Yeah, Marlboros are the best. They taste the best, and of course, God, they're fucking so expensive. I think a pack of, and I kind of switched up. I've been a Marlboro Light smoker for years, and I switched over to Marlboro Light menthols just to change it up a little bit. I've been smoking those lately, and fuck, dude, a pack of Marlboros at Quick Trip was almost $15 fucking dollars, man. $15, and I couldn't imagine it. That's $30 a day. Times that times 30, that's almost $1,000 a month on fucking cigarettes. Yeah, you know what I mean. I could have something really nice parked in the driveway for that. In fact, I'm almost to the point where I really do need to quit. Now that Libby's not living here and helping us out with bills and stuff, money's going to be a little tighter than it was, and that'd be a good way for me to cut $300 or $400 a month out of my expenditures, Yeah, you vape too. I think everybody that has been a smoker has at least tried it, you know. And I tried a lot of the different stuff, some of the fruity stuff, like some of the like lemon drop and shit like that. And they had one that I kind of liked that was like Girl Scout thin mint vape, and it tasted like a thin mint Girl Scout cookie. I liked that because it was a little deeper flavor and it wasn't so fruity. And I did like that. I think they called it Shamrock something, and it was pretty good though. You know, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, even if you're a cigarette smoker and you start hitting a vape, it's like you cough your fucking ass off for a while till you get used to it. For sure. Yeah, dude, $15. Now there's some of the like little Hamads and shit that are around here that have like a 2-pack special. And if you buy 2 packs, then you get them for like $10.30. But at Quick Trip, they're like 14 and change all fucking day long. Talking to the tobacconist the other night, and accidentally inhaled my cigar. Oh my God, I hate it when that happens, dude. That's like, cramming 3 fucking bong hits into one draw. You're just hacking and hacking and hacking. Oh, you used to make it. Okay. Get like the raw ingredients and mix up your own flavors and shit. I never tried that. I mean, that would be cool for the aspect that, you know, you can kind of make, suit your own palate, because I've tried, and some of those fucking vape juices are, fucking $30. And, you spend $30 on something, they'll like give you like a little taste and you can taste the juice, but it's not the same as smoking it and tasting it while you're vaping. And you just wasted $30 on some shit that you can't fucking stand. Yeah. And I mean, it 65, 70 fucking percent of that is all taxes. The cigarettes don't cost that much. It's the damn taxes that they hit you with on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, just like anything else, if it's something that you're getting into and something you're experimenting with or playing with or whatever, you're gonna go fucking balls deep on it, and then you end up kind of like I did with the fucking pipe thing. I went crazy and I bought like a fucking $300 Salvinelli pipe and like a $260 fucking Peterson pipe, and bought like 20 different fucking tins of fucking cigar tobacco and or pipe tobacco, and just didn't really get into it that much. I mean, I would say in the winter time, I may, get the pipe back out and get a light of fucking fire and a fucking stove or something or whatever. But I don't know. Just nothing like these. I'll just stick with my fucking cigars, for sure. Well, guys, the old El Tributo did me really good. About done smoking on this. 3.5 hours on this one stogie, you know. And I've been talking a lot, but I've been hitting it up pretty fucking good. So highly, highly fucking recommend you guys trying that 25th. And Ron, you get up here, we'll definitely smoke one of these, brother. We can sit out back, and hell, I can damn near smoke a slab of ribs in the time that it takes to smoke one of these. So we can get some ribs on and, baby back it up and do that shit. And, you know, yeah, I like the cigars way better. But yeah, Ryan, 3.5 hours on one opus, and it's a Churchill, but I mean, fuck, I've smoked like some Ashton Churchills, and some like the Perdomo 30th anniversary. That's a Churchill, and those cigars never lasted me no fucking 3.5 hours. No fucking way. Maybe 2.5. And even like an Andalusian Bull, that's about a 2-hour cigar, but it ain't no 3-hour cigar for sure. But well, thank you, Guns, and thank everybody for coming. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Got pipes and pipe tobacco. Yeah, I didn't get into it that much either, donuts. But anyway, had a really good time tonight. Thanks for coming and joining. It's always a pleasure. I always enjoy talking with you guys. We always seem to have fun, and it is. It's a good time, and I really appreciate the support. And things are doing good with the channel. I think I picked up a few more subs this weekend, and last week I'm up to like 360 something subscribers now in just a little over a year. So I'm pretty proud of that. I've seen a lot of other channels that have been on there for a couple 3 years and just have a few more subscribers than I have. So really appreciate the love and support, and you guys keep it smoky, and hope you find some sticks that you're looking for. And till next time, peace. We'll see you guys soon. Have a great fucking weekend.
Thanks for watching the Old Fogies Stogies.